Chapter 74. A loss is a loss. It's up to them whether they want to give it or not. As for that Long Outyan, who knows where he went? Zhou Xian was fuming with anger. I'm telling you, let's just forget about this matter. Don't even think about the money. Hurry up and apologize to Long Outyan and ask your sister to work in the company. Don't idle around every day. Apologize. Dad, if you want to go, you go. I'm hanging up. Xianxia immediately hung up the phone. Father really changed. He wasn't like this in the past. Qin Yutong held on to her big sister's delicate hand and consoled. Big sister, don't be afraid. Xianxia let out a deep sigh and took a look at Yihua, who was at the side. This fellow didn't even say a single word of consolation to me. Suddenly the phone rang again. Xianxia thought that it was her father who called her again, but in the end, it was actually the head of the company's finance department who called her. An excited inquiry sounded from the phone. CO Qing, the company's account has an additional 50 billion. This? 50 billion. Whose is it? Xianxia was startled and didn't come back to her senses for a moment. 50 billion, that's cash. It's someone called Wang Debao. Xianxia really didn't expect that this Wang Debao would transfer money to her the next day. The speed of returning money is really fast. Right, I understand. CO Qing, is this all right? The finance head was a bit nervous. This sum of money was equivalent to the price of the entire company. I'm fine. After hanging up the phone, Xianxia was still a bit in disbelief. Based on Wang family's strength, they could completely disregard this matter. But I didn't expect that this Wang Debao would be so forthright as expected of a prodigal son. Wang Debao's squandering would always bring him benefits. Even if it was this time, Wang Debao was indirectly hugging onto Yihua's thigh. Xianxia, who returned the debt? Yihua asked curiously. Just now, I was still thinking about how to step on the debt to make it interesting. It's Wang Debao. Him. Not bad. Yihua said faintly. I have a whole new level of respect for that Wang Debao. 50 billion is not a small sum of money, and to be able to settle it in such a short period of time, he has some ability and is also a man of his words. He's not a bad human. Qin Yutong asked dumbfoundedly. Big sister, did you receive 50 billion already? Yes. Qin Yutong immediately hugged onto her big sister's thigh. Big sister, isn't Yutong very obedient? You have to take a look. Xianxia snorted. Sis, in the future, Yutong can only rely on you and brother-in-law. I won't leave even if you beat me to death. This was an iron rice bowl and he had to hold on to it. In the future he wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing and he could just eat and wait for death. How happy would that be? Yihua went silent for a while, then said, Xianxia, give that Xiaoyi a call and tell him to return the money within 3 days. If not, he will have to bear the consequences. Yihua, forget it. Xianxia was a bit worried. Right now, I have already returned half of the money and this is already the best result. Logically speaking, if I were to return this 50 billion, the effect would be even better. Yihua just didn't like Xianxia's habit of being afraid of this and that. On this point, Qin Yutong was even worse off. Yutong, come and fight. We'll only give them 3 days. All right, I will call. Qin Yutong would not have so many misgivings. A debt owed must be paid back, a life owed must be paid back no matter what. Qin Yutong was a movie queen in the entertainment circle, and there were quite a few big figures who called her, and of course that included Xiao family. Thinking back then, this Xiaoyi even had some thoughts towards me. He called Xiaoyi directly. And Xiaoyi was also very curious as to why this movie queen would suddenly call him. Could it be that she has thought things through and is preparing to offer herself to me? Yutong, what's the matter? Xiaoyi asked. Return the money. Xiaoyi. Yutong, when did I owe you money? You couldn't have remembered wrongly, right? 50 billion, I will give you 3 days' time. Qin Yutong didn't give Xiaoyi any face and directly went straight to the point. Speaking of the 50 billion, Xiaoyi immediately knew what was going on. Yutong, what matter can't we talk about properly? What is there to talk about with you? Quickly return the money. If you don't return the money, then just wait for me to come and trample on your debt. After finished speaking, Qin Yutong hung up the phone, then raised her eyebrows towards Yihua, seemingly saying how was her performance. Xianxia held onto her forehead. These two people are truly not afraid of anything, to even dare to trample on Xiao family's money. Brother-in-law, when the time comes, bring me along to trample on your debt. Qin Yutong was already rubbing her palms together. Yesterday night was not enough to satisfy her craving, the other party was too weak. In actuality, the other party from yesterday night was also not weak. He was also a well-known figure in the cultivation world, just that he met with the beautiful girl warrior, this Chinibu girl who was poisoned by cartoons. This kind of matter is still not up to us. Yihua said gravely. If I have to personally take action for everything, then what's the use of having subordinates? Are those strong people who personally take action really strong people? Perhaps they are just trying to get a sense of existence. Big sister, look at brother-in-law, he is starting to act cool even though he is not smoking. Qing Yutong said tenderly. She felt that what brother-in-law said was super cool. Qingya laughed bitterly, then said tenderly, all right Yihua, don't mind it too much. If they don't want to return the money, we can't do anything about it. Yihua did not say anything. Some things do not need to be explained, there is no need to. I want to see how this Xiao Yi is going to choose. After all, the lives of his entire family are at his whim. Right now, Xiao Yi was currently sitting on the plane back to Zijin City, completely unaware of the seriousness of the matter. And Nangong Sini, who was beside him, didn't think much of it, thus the two of them didn't take it seriously. After eating breakfast, Yihua and his sister-in-law started playing games again. Qingya made some fruits and sat at the side watching the two of them play. Feeling like she was a servant, she bought a computer and joined in as well. As expected, Gaohai City's famous cold and elegant female Xiao was also led astray. If she were to give birth to a child, she would be able to eat chicken dinner. The addition of his wife undoubtedly increased the difficulty of the game for Yihua. Qingya was originally a woman who refused to admit defeat, and that serious appearance of hers made it seem as if she was having a meeting, and furthermore she was even giving out orders. In a blink of an eye, she had turned into a female strategist. Yihua was still very gratified. Qingya still has the ability in this aspect, not bad. On the other side, Wei Chong encountered his first date in his life and was currently pondering on how to go out. After all, it was a date with Xiao Tang, and it seemed like he was also attending her classmate's birthday party. All of these are secondary, the main point is how I should go out and not throw his honor's face. I remember the idol drama that I watched last night. The male lead still had to dress up before going out. I can learn from him. Wei Chong could be seen taking out a facial mask and pasting it on his face. Then turning on his computer, he began learning how a man should dress up. Moisturizer? I still have to use this. Foundation? Thrush? This is too sissy, right? I don't want to be like Lai Gu, who painted his nails with nail polish. Lai Gu. Fuck, that was not painted by me, it was painted by my woman. At this time Wei Chang's phone rang. Without even thinking, he knew that it was Xiao Tang. His honor wouldn't call me, and even more so, other people wouldn't call me. The phone is just a decoration, but recently, it wasn't just a decoration anymore because Xiao Tang would call me from time to time and ask me about it. Chapter 75. Uncle Wei, I am here to pick you up. Tang Wei's gentle voice rang out from the phone. Wei Chong felt very comfortable listening to it. Xiao Tang, you are here, come up and have a seat first. And, just that, when Tang Wei saw Wei Chong, who was currently putting on a facial mask, she was stupefied. However, she was still very touched in her heart. Does Uncle Wei want to become younger so that he would be more compatible with me? Actually, there really isn't a need to do this. Tang Wei took off her facial mask and said, Uncle Wei, you are already handsome enough. If you are any more handsome, how are other people going to live? Xiao Tang, you are very beautiful today. Wei Chong said with a smile. The current Wei Chong was very good at speaking. Recently he had been studying some love courses in his mind, and Wei Chong concluded that there was only one simple thing, and that was to praise a girl. That way the girl would be happy. Just look at Xiao Tang. However, it must be said that Xiao Tang was very beautiful today. Her jet black long hair was not tied into a ponytail, rather, it was draped over her shoulders. She was wearing a blue t-shirt, cropped jeans and white sneakers, looking incomparably pure. Uncle Wei, why does your mouth seem to be smeared with honey today? Tang Wei said shyly, then pinched the corner of Wei Chang's mouth. The gluttonous monster of the 7 deadly sins was pinched by a human woman. My God! What is this? A supreme overlord was even pushed down by a human woman. As expected, like boss-like subordinate moral conduct is contagious. Towards his girlfriend pinching the corner of his mouth, Wei Chong only went into a daze for a moment, then stretched out his hand and caressed Tang Wei's head. The latter squinted her beautiful eyes. Just like a kitten, she seemed to be enjoying it. Xiao Tang, wait a moment, I will go and change my clothes. And Tang Wei replied obediently. Is this what love is? Feels so sweet. Uncle Wei is such a good man. Tang Wei's evaluation of Wei Chong is truly on point. Wei Chong is so good that he doesn't even blink his eyes when he kills. No, he doesn't even blink his eyes when he eats people. Just like what Lai Gu said, this is a gluttonous monster. The more he eats, the stronger he becomes. This was the first time he went out on a date with his girlfriend. Wei Chong took off his daily security uniform and wore a casual black suit. This suit could be considered as imitating his honor, just that he bought it 3 years ago and he had never worn it until now because Wei Chang's life was very simple. When Wei Chong appeared in front of Tang Wei was completely dumbfounded. When Uncle Wei wore formal attire, he simply looked like no one else. His mature aura assaulted her senses, causing Tang Wei to sink into a love-struck state. Lil Tang, let's go. Wei Chong held his dumbfounded girlfriend's hand and said with a smile. Tang Wei discovered that Uncle Wei was very different today, especially his smile. It was too charming. Uncle Wei was even more handsome than the boss and his smile was so warm. As the saying goes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Tang Wei was currently in such a state. Uncle Wei, I'll drive. You sit. Lil Tang, let me do it. Uncle Wei, are you sure? Of course, Uncle Wei's stamina is pretty good. Tang Wei instantly blushed. Uncle Wei actually knows how to flirt. Wei Chong could be seen riding on the little yellow bicycle, and Tang Wei was seen sitting on the back of the bicycle. Tang Wei's hands were wrapped around Wei Chang's waist, and she lightly leaned on Wei Chang's back. To her, a simple bicycle was enough. She would rather sit on a bicycle and laugh than sit on a BMW and cry. With Tang Wei's looks, don't mention a BMW, she can even cry in a Bentley. Wei Chong was mature and handsome while Tang Wei was pure and beautiful. The two of them were a perfect match. Coincidentally, the place where the birthday banquet was being held this time was the Pin 1 clubhouse. After placing the little yellow bicycle at its rightful place, the two of them walked towards the Pin 1 clubhouse. Tang Wei's hands were hugging onto Wei Chang's arm, and her beautiful face was brimming with a blissful smile. Wei, over here. From afar, Fang Qian waved her hand and shouted. Qian, Tang Wei replied happily. The reason why I brought my boyfriend out today was to tell everyone that I already have a boyfriend. Although he isn't a famous flower, he still has a boyfriend. When Fang Qian saw that Tang Wei brought Uncle Wei along, she was also startled. However, she still quickly adjusted herself and shouted, Uncle Wei. Xiao Fang is here too. Wei Chong smiled. Different from Yi Hua, Wei Chang's smile was always on his face, and it seemed to be easier for him to assimilate into humans' thoughts. Uncle Wei, you are so handsome today. Fang Qian sized up Wei Chong. In the past, Wei Chong would often wear a security uniform, but today he is actually wearing a suit. Tang Wei was very proud. Of course my Uncle Wei is handsome. Let's go in. Tang Wei said tenderly. Qi Shuwen is coming too. Jia Jiaojie seems to have invited him too. Fang Qian shrugged. Tang Wei nodded her head. Student Qi is coming too, let's wait for him then. Towards this Qi Shuwen who helped her, Tang Wei felt that he was rather good and he was rather humorous at times. Recently he seems to have changed quite a bit. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, a series of rumbling sounds rang out from afar, and a BMW motorcycle could be seen driving over at lightning speed, steadily stopping at the roadside. Qi Shuwen took off his helmet and said with a smile, Sorry for coming late. It's fine, we just arrived not too long ago. Tang Wei said with a gentle smile. Tang Wei's smile truly warmed one's heart. Qi Shuwen smiled, then suddenly saw that Tang Wei's hand was holding onto this handsome uncle. Why does this uncle look so familiar? I remember now. He is the one who came to help Tang Wei that day. Looking at Tang Wei's intimate expression, this uncle should be her uncle. I should put on a good performance today. Hello, uncle. Qi Shuwen stretched out his hand and said with a smile. If it was Yi Hua, he would definitely not stretch out his hand. However, Wei Chong was different. After being a security captain for 5 years, he was already proficient in human communication. Hello. The two of them shook hands in a friendly manner. Uncle, you look like a 20-year-old young man, so handsome. Qi Shuwen took the opportunity to flatter Wei Chong. Tang Wei was very happy too. Of course, my Uncle Wei is the best. Why does Qi Shuwen feel that something is wrong? This shouldn't be the expression that a niece should have towards her uncle. Something is wrong. Qi Shuwen did not ask much and the four of them walked into Pinyi Clubhouse. When the few of them arrived at the lobby, Wei Chong did not have any reaction. I have seen even more powerful people before, and this is Qi Shuwen's first time coming here. When had Tang Wei and Fang Qian ever come to such a high-class place before? They were shocked by the luxurious atmosphere in front of them, and immediately felt that they were out of place. Last night Xiao Yi booked the entire place and it seemed that there weren't a lot of people. However, today the place was packed with people. For some of them, it was also their first time coming to such a high-class place. Just like Tang Wei, they sized up the place curiously. Meanwhile, those men and women who were dressed in Western suits and leather shoes revealed out a deep look of disdain. They felt that the rules of this Pin-E clubhouse should be changed. Not just any Tom, Dick and Harry can come here. Which room is Jia Jiaojie in? Qi Shuwen asked. Fang Qian took out her phone and took a look at her WeChat. Room 10. Chapter 76. In Long'an City, Jia Jiaojie could be considered to have quite a bit of face. To be more precise, it was the Jia family. It wasn't easy for Jia Jiaojie to get this room number 10. If this matter were to be spread out, Jia Jiaojie's face would also become famous. The four of them walked through the long corridor and found room 10 at the back of the first-class clubhouse. Qi Shuwen was still a gentleman and took the initiative to open the door. Taking a look around, the size of the room was around 120 square meters. Although the decoration of the room was expensive, there was still some difference compared to the room that Yi Hua went to yesterday. At the side of the room there was a small bedroom and the bedroom was still very humane. The bedroom was specially prepared for those men and women who couldn't take it anymore. There were a few youngsters sitting inside and of course Jia Jiaojie, the main character, was included as well. Jia Jiaojie was quite pretty, but compared to Tang Wei she was a bit lacking. Especially the arrogance between Jia Jiaojie's brows. It was really unknown who gave her that confidence. Beside Jia Jiaojie sat 3 men and a woman. They were dressed in expensive clothes and just like Jia Jiaojie, they exuded an air of arrogance. Looking at Wei Chong appeared to be extremely natural. This is what it means to truly become one with someone. Even Yi Hua, who was a supreme overlord, wasn't able to become as natural as Wei Chong. Faintly, Wei Chong even gave off the aura of someone in a superior position. Our beauty Tang is here. Jia Jiaojie stood up with a smile, but there was a hint of evil in her eyes. The 3 young men who were seated looked towards Tang Wei and couldn't help but nod their heads. Tang Wei was indeed a rare beauty. Her pure temperament was already very hard to find. Tang Wei politely smiled. Jia Jiaojie, happy birthday. Don't stand on ceremony. Everyone come and have a seat. Who is this? Jia Jiaojie asked curiously. Actually, she already knew what kind of relationship this handsome uncle had with Tang Wei, and she had to thank Fang Qian for this. He is called Wei Chong, my boyfriend. Tang Wei introduced with a gentle smile. Wei Chong was also very polite. Hello everyone. If this Wei Chong was seen by the other Sixins, they would definitely think that Wei Chong had taken the wrong medicine. He who fed on humans could be so humble. The 3 young men didn't think much of it. Obviously they already knew Wei Chang's identity. On the other hand, Qi Shuwen was stupefied. Isn't this Tang Wei's uncle? How did he become Tang Wei's boyfriend? Isn't this too ridiculous? I feel like he can already be Tang Wei's father. Oh, so you are Tang Wei's boyfriend. May I know where you are working? Jia Jiaojie picked up the red wine on the table, shook it and asked with a teasing tone. Tang Wei frowned slightly. She didn't expect that Jia Jiaojie would still be like this. She didn't change at all. Wei Chong said disapprovingly, I'm a security guard in a bar. At this moment a young man smiled and said, Security? Are you a security guard? This sentence caused the other 2 men and 1 woman to burst into laughter. Tang Wei's complexion was already very bad, but Wei Chong appeared to be exceptionally normal and even maintained a smile. Qi Shuwen did not say anything and stood quietly at the side. Fang Qian quietly stood behind Qi Shuwen, as if she wanted to draw a line between them. Alright, I was just joking. Don't mind me. Jia Jiaojie's expression changed and she began to smooth things over. The show had just begun and she couldn't let it end so quickly. Right now Tang Wei was extremely disgusted with Jia Jiaojie. She felt that she shouldn't have brought Uncle Wei here. Uncle Wei was probably feeling very uncomfortable right now and it was all her fault. Uncle Wei, let's go. Wei Chong smiled and said, It's fine if we leave just like this, we will seem very rude. Tang Wei, even your old boyfriend knows how to be polite, why don't you know how to be polite? Jia Jiaojia caressed her hair and teased. Wei Chong smiled but didn't say anything. I want to see what kind of tricks these ants can play. You. Xiao Tang, calm down. Wei Chong caressed Tang Wei's head lightly as if he was caressing his own pet. Uncle Wei. Sit. Wei Chong said indifferently. Jia Jiaojia looked at her good friends. This was the first show and there would be another good show later on. After sitting down, Jia Jiaojia introduced to Tang Wei. This is Long and City's Han family's young master, Han Kaijia. This is Long and City's Yu family's young master, Yu Wenguang. This is Long and City's Li family's Li Ba. And this beauty is our Long and City's Longhu Real Estate's young master, Shen Miao Miao. She is currently single, student Qi, you have to grasp this opportunity. Jia Jiaojia said with a gentle smile, seemingly wanting to curry favor with Qi Shuwen. The main reason was that Qi Shuwen had done a lot of big things during this period of time, and even some of the big shots in Long and City were praising him endlessly. The reason why she called Shen Miao Miao and Qi Shuwen over today was actually to matchmake them. Qi Shuwen laughed dryly and nodded his head politely towards Shen Miao Miao. The latter also smiled sweetly. Tang Wei, who do you fancy? Tell me, I guarantee that you will have a good life in the future. Jia Jiaojia started to make things difficult for Tang Wei again. This was completely not putting Wei Chong in her eyes. To make his girlfriend look bad in front of Wei Chong. To put it bluntly, Jia Jiaojia was just a pimp, and the three rich young masters were the clients while Tang Wei was the mistress. Tang Wei was not someone who was easy to provoke. She slammed the table and shouted, Jia Jiaojia. What do you mean by this? Tang Wei, this uncle is really not suitable for you. Big sister is just thinking for you. You're going to graduate around this time next year, right? Where are you going to go? Are you still going to work in a bar? Look at Feng Qian, she will be able to intern at a company under the Han family soon. I am also doing this for your own good. There are 3 such big companies, you can choose from them. Tang Wei immediately looked towards Feng Qian. She did not understand why her best friend would follow them and even enter the Han family's company. She could only imagine the price. Han Kaijia's lips curled up into a smile. Although this Feng Qian was not as pretty as Tang Wei, she was still a virgin. He could still use her to play with. For a vain woman like her, if he gave her a little benefit, she would crawl and kneel down. Looking at this Tang Wei, she would probably feel better if she kneeled down. Student Tang, how about this? I will also introduce a job to this uncle. You can come to my company. Li Ba was the first to make a move. He heard from Jia Jiaojia that this Tang Wei was still an original and could be invested in. Tang Wei was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down. If not for Uncle Wei holding her down, she would have already flipped out. Tang Wei, don't be so unappreciative. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. Jia Jiaojia mocked. She actually sat on Yu Wenguang's lap. Qi Shuwen did not even want to look anymore. These rich people were really abnormal. He heard that this Jia Jiaojia was someone else's fiancé. Bang! Right at this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. A young man dressed in ordinary clothes walked in. His expression was calm, but his gaze was filled with ruthlessness. Yu Wenguang patted Jia Jiaojia's butt and said with a smile, Your fiancé is here. Jia Jiaojia did not place the person in her eyes at all. He's just a piece of trash. My parents must have been blind to actually get engaged to him back then. Chapter 77. After saying that, he looked at Yu Wenguang. As for you wanting to be the one to take over, I won't stop you. After all, this woman's strength is up to standard and it'll be easy for you to come and go. Qin Jin, do you want to die? Jia Jiaojia was instantly ignited. She threw the wine glass in her hand at Qin Jin. Qin Jin turned sideways and sneered, Jia Jiaojia, have you forgotten how you kneeled and licked my feet when my family was doing well? Recalling the past, Qin Jin felt that he must have been blind to have fallen for such a woman, and today was the day of his death. He was beaten to death in this room, and the murderer was Long Wenguang's bodyguard. As for the other people, they didn't even make a sound as they watched themselves being beaten to death. The only thing that was strange was, why were there 2 more people? That uncle and that youngster. I don't seem to have seen these 2 people in my previous life. I'm going to beat you to death today, you bastard. The flustered and exasperated Jia Jiaojia actually raised her embroidered fist. Qin Jin sneered in disdain and threw a punch with his right fist, which landed heavily on Jia Jiaojia's abdomen. The latter's eyeballs almost popped out. Qin Jin grabbed his fiancée's hair and slapped her. Both of them started working at the same time. Clap clap clap. After slapping Jia was still in a bad mood, and after slapping Jia picked Jia up and threw Jia to one side. Although this Jia is very vicious, but to be slapped to such a state, it is still so miserable. Qin Jin didn't even look at the unconscious Jia. To put it bluntly, she was just an accomplice. To be precise, they were all accomplices, including Yu Wenguang, the murderer. Back then, after he died, he went to another world and cultivated for 500 years, reaching the soul formation stage. He didn't expect to transmigrate back here. Heavens will wanted him to take revenge. He had to take back everything he lost back then, including his true love. When speaking of true love, Qin Jin took a glance at Tang Wei. His gaze contained a complicated look. Back then he had indeed had a crush on this commoner school belle. Qin Jin sat down and knocked on the table. Everyone, let's settle the score. Long Wenguang looked back at Jia and said lightly, Qin Jin, kneel on the ground and kowtow 3 times. Maybe it's just the pain of losing your hand. Qin Jin exhaled and asked, where are your bodyguards? Qin Jin, kneel. Li Ba stood up and shouted. Qin Jin gave him a backhand slap. Who are you asking to kneel? How dare you hit me? Li Ba covered his face in disbelief. Qin Jin showed no mercy to these accomplices. He kicked Li Ba's kneecaps and broke his legs. Kneel down and repent. Qin Jin said faintly. Li Ba was rolling on the ground in pain and his wails filled the whole room. Soon he fainted from the pain. Tang Wei was obviously badly frightened. Her entire body was lying in Wei Chang's embrace. Today's situation was even more terrifying than that day. Qi Shuwen frowned. This Qin Jin used to be very popular in school, but ever since his family went bankrupt he changed. He didn't expect him to become so violent. Fang Qian finally could not hold back the panic in her heart and broke into a run. However, how could she escape Qin Jin's gaze? Grabbing Fang Qian's arm, she raised her hand and slapped Fang Qian onto the ground. TV. You stay here as well. I've already said that none of you can escape. Fang Qian covered her red and swollen face. Qin Jin, are you crazy? Fang Qian, do you think that I don't know what you have done? You act one way in front of others and another way behind others. Qin Jin said faintly. He poured himself a glass of red wine and drank it very confidently. You. After taking a sip of the red wine, Qin Jin said to Han Kaijia, this woman is very sick, be careful not to get infected. She's very good at lying. Han Kaijia's expression changed greatly as he looked towards Fang Qian. Qin Jin smiled and said, don't you all understand? This Fang Qian is Jia Jiaojia's little sister, she is used to swindle resources. Tang Wei didn't expect that Fang Qian was such a person. The good that Fang Qian treated me in the past was all fake. Her motive was to harm me. My God, I am so stupid. Han Kaijia's gaze was sinister as he stood up and walked towards Fang Qian, then asked, is what he said true? Young Master Han, don't believe him. Qian is sincere towards you. Have you forgotten the happy time last night? Young Master Han, you were also extremely happy at that time. Qin Jin laughed. Young Master Han, she is terminally ill. You have to wear a condom. Young Master Han, I am not sick, he is lying to you. Fang Qian hugged onto Han Kaijia's thigh and cried out. Han Kaijia said blankly, why didn't you let me wear a condom last night? Were you trying to pass the disease to me? Young Master Han, you have misunderstood me. I was just trying to make you feel even better. Young Master Han, does it feel good to be sick? Qin Jin mocked. Han Kaijia finally couldn't take it anymore. His eyes turned red as he raised his leg and stomped onto the woman on the ground. He shouted, slut. Go and die. Mother ** king slut. 100 stomps with all his strength. How could an ordinary woman take it? Fang Qian's eyes were wide open and blood was flowing out from the corner of her mouth. She had long been stomped to death. When Qin Jin saw this scene he thought of himself. I seem to have also been stomped to death like this. And this Fang Qian had also stepped on me before. Today is the day when I get my retribution. Enough. She has already been stomped to death by you. Yu Wenguang shouted. Mother ** king slut. Do you think I'll let you off just because you're dead? I'll even step on a corpse. **ck. For some reason Han Kaijia got more and more excited the more he stomped. Especially when he saw the pair of eyes that had died with everlasting regret, he felt even better than last night. At this moment, Xiaojie, who had fainted, slowly opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was Feng Qian, who had died with everlasting regret. Blood was still flowing out from the corner of her mouth, and Han Kaijie was stomping on her abdomen without any regard for his life. Han Kaijie, are you crazy? Xiaojie propped herself up and shouted. Han Kaijie's eyes were bloodshot as he turned to look at Xiaojie. This is the woman you introduced to me, the woman who is sick. Since when was Feng Qian sick? You're the one who's sick. And you still say she's not sick? Even Qin Jin says she's sick. Han Kaijie pointed at Qin Jin, who was drinking red wine, and shouted. Xiaojie slowly stood up. Han Kaijie, has your brain been eaten by a dog? How can you believe Qin Jin's words? Qin Jin took out his phone and waved it. Han Kaijie just killed a young woman with cruel means. His methods are so cruel that it makes one's hair stand on end. Han Kaijie seemed to wake up from a dream. He turned around and ran toward Qin Jin. However, he was no match for Qin Jin. He was sent flying by Qin Jin's kick and landed on Feng Qian. Fiancé, what are you standing there for? Come and sit down. Yuanguang, what are you waiting for? Call for help. I promise I won't leave. Yu Wenguang took out his phone and said to Qin Jin, all right, you've got guts. Don't even think of walking out of this door alive today. All right, let's see who can walk out of this door alive. Qin Jin chuckled. Chapter 78. I'm ashamed that I still regard you as my true love, but you're lying in someone else's arms. All women in this world are the same. Qi Shuwen didn't say anything. He had no intention of interfering. Shen Miao Miao, who was at the side, was actually very scared, but she didn't know what to do. If she knew it would be like this, she wouldn't have come today. Wei Chong hugged Tang Wei and comforted her softly. He did not have any intention of leaving. Not long after, 5 burly men walked in. Qin Jin turned around and glanced at them. Of course, he remembered the faces of these 5 people. Back then, they were the ones who trampled on him until he was on the verge of death, and these people were the ones who stepped on him from behind. And Shen Miao Miao was the one who stepped on the last one. Yu Wenguang shouted in a deep voice, kill him. Yes, boss. The 5 burly men clenched their fists and looked at Qin Jin. How could an ordinary human be a match for them? They were cultivators and their fists were deadly. Of course Qin Jin knew this, but he was no longer the Qin Jin of the past. He was a powerful cultivator of the soul formation stage, and he could easily take their lives. Bang, 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 bang. Other than Wei Chong, no one could see Qin Jin's movements clearly. The 5 burly men flew out and turned into 5 corpses. Qi Shuwen's expression changed greatly. This man was stronger than him. Xiaojie, Yu Wenguang and Shen Miao Miao were all dumbfounded. They all knew the strength of these 5 bodyguards. They hadn't been defeated yet, but they didn't expect to be instantly killed by this trash. Qin Jin suddenly stood up and shouted, forgive me for being blunt, but I'm not targeting anyone. Everyone here is trash. Wei Chong frowned slightly. Was he calling him trash? Isn't this indirectly scolding his honor as trash? How could that be? There was only one outcome for insulting his honor, and that was death. How should he die? Let me think about it. Xiaojie was a smart woman. She instantly knelt on the ground and shouted, Qin Jin, I was wrong in the past. Let's make up. I'll still treat you like before. Kneel down and lick my boots? Qin Jin teased. Xiaojie was taken aback for a moment. Then she smiled and said, my shoes are a little dirty, help me out, Qin Jin said with a smile. Xiaojie looked at the small black stain and stuck out her tongue while suppressing her disgust. Bang! Xiaojie's delicate body flew out once again, slamming heavily into the wall. Her beautiful eyes were wide open and her limbs were trembling. It was obvious that her spine had been broken, and she gradually stopped breathing. You don't deserve to lick my shoes. Qin Jin patted his white sneakers and said coldly. Yu Wenguang revealed a look of fear. He had actually killed his fiancée. Savage to the extreme. Qin Jin knocked on the table and lightly said, someone should be coming at this time. Sure enough, as soon as Qin Jin finished speaking, 2 people walked in, one old and one young. The man was very elegant. The old man was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and seemed to be an expert. The two of them walked in and glanced at each other. They didn't show any signs of shock. Qin Jin stood up. Master Bai. You know me? Bai Qi asked curiously. Of course. Qin Jin smiled. Back then these two people had stood by and watched as he was beaten to death. The old man on the side lowered his head and said, Young Master Bai, this man is extraordinary. I suggest we take a look first. Bai Qi frowned slightly, but he still believed in the old man's decision. He smiled faintly and said, Have fun, everyone. With that he left the room. Qin Jin laughed softly. Wasn't it the same back then? It was just that he had the upper hand this time. Young Master Bai, take me out. Yu Wenguang shouted frantically. Unfortunately, the door was already closed and he couldn't open it no matter how hard he tried. Yu Wenguang, stop shouting. No one will answer you even if you scream yourself hoarse, Qin Jin said calmly. Yu Wenguang shouted in a low voice, Qin Jin. How dare you kill me? My father will definitely not let you off. Your family has so many brothers. If you die, they won't even be able to clap their hands in time. You. But I can give you a chance to live. Qin Jin said mockingly. What? Only one of you and Han Kaijia can live. While he's still unconscious, you better make your move quickly. He's bigger than you. Otherwise you might be the one to die later. Yu Wenguang looked at the unconscious Han Kaijia with a complicated gaze. Unexpectedly, Han Kaijia, who was lying on Fang Qian, moved slightly. This gave Yu Wenguang a fright. This Han Kaijia learned mixed martial arts for no reason. He reckoned that he would end up like Fang Qian, trampled to death later. He could only make the first move. I'm sorry. Yu Wenguang could be seen picking up the red wine bottle on the table, walking to Han Kaijia's side. Taking a deep breath, he fiercely smashed the bottle down. Bang! The expensive red wine smashed onto the back of Han Kaijia's head. The red wine dyed Han Kaijia and the dead Fang Qian red, making the scene look extremely terrifying. Yu Wenguang thought that this would be enough. Who knew that Han Kaijia's finger was still moving slightly? He raised the sharp shard and directly stabbed it into the back of Han Kaijia's head. The red wine and blood mixed together. It seemed like Han Kaijia and Fang Qian had already fused into one. Tang Wei had already fainted. She had never seen such a cruel scene in her life. Shen Miaomiao really wanted to faint, but she was unable to do so. Qi Shuwen wrinkled his brows. With my strength, I am completely not Qin Jin's opponent. I have to think of a way to escape. Qin Jin, I still have something to do, can I? Qi Shuwen asked. Qin Jin thought for a while. He didn't have any thoughts towards this person who suddenly appeared, he was just curious as to why he came. Furthermore, he was only looking for those people who killed him. Of course you can leave. Qin Jin said faintly. Qi Shuwen immediately let out a sigh of relief. Taking a look at Tang Wei, Qi Shuwen shook his head. I can't even protect myself, I won't be able to save her. Shen Miaomiao immediately turned to him for help as if begging him to take her out. Qin Jin smiled, don't make me change my mind. Qi Shuwen was shocked and immediately left. This person was so terrifying and he had to continue devouring to ensure his own safety. Other than Tang Wei who had fainted, there were still 4 people alive at the scene. The rest were all dead. The thick smell of blood was so strong that even the air conditioner was unable to blow it away. Alright, there was also Li Ba who had fainted. Wei Chong liked this taste very much, as if he had returned to the past. He admired this man's vicious methods, but it was a pity that he said the wrong thing. Qin Jin, I don't know you. Can I leave? Shen Miaomiao tried her best to remain calm, but her voice was still trembling. Are you sure we don't know each other? Asked Qin Jin lightly. Really? This is the first time I met you. Qin Jin laughed. It was indeed the first time he met Shen Miaomiao, but the scene back then was still lingering in his mind. Those rich people played with my dignity and even stepped on my dead body. And this Shen Miaomiao, under their jeering, also stepped on me. Even now, Qin Jin could still remember the expression that Shen Miaomiao had when she finished stepping on me. She was nervous and excited. Qin Jin let out a breath. It's still the same old rules, only one of you can live. Chapter 79. Yu Wenguang's eyes were bloodshot and Han Kaijia's blood was still on his face. With a crazed look on his face, Yu Wenguang walked towards Shen Miaomiao. The latter was very afraid, but she knew that it was useless to be afraid. She could only give it her all. Shin Miao Miao lifted her leg and kicked at Yuwen Guang's crotch. The fork in her right hand quickly stabbed at Yuwen Guang's neck. Yuwen Guang's aorta was instantly punctured. When Shin Miao Miao pulled out the fork, blood gushed out like a fountain. Yuwen Guang clutched his neck in disbelief. He reached out to grab Shin Miao Miao, but it was to no avail. He had underestimated women. When a person was on the brink of death, they would do something unimaginable. Even a weak woman could turn into a god of death. Shin Miao Miao, I didn't expect that. Qin Jin was very surprised and applauded. Shin Miao Miao took a deep breath and put down the bloody fork. Can I go now? There's another unconscious one here. Qin Jin stepped on Li Ba's back. Shin Miao Miao's breathing quickened. She picked up the fork again, glanced at Qin Jin, and used the same method to stab Li Ba's aorta. This should be enough, right? Shin Miao Miao actually wanted to cry, but she knew that this man was very cruel, so she couldn't cry. Even if she wanted to cry, she had to step out of this door. Of course. Qin Jin smiled gently. Shin Miao Miao breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't want to come to this Pin 1 club anymore. They didn't even care about such a thing. Opening the door, Shin Miao Miao took a deep breath of the outside air and felt alive again. Silly. Shin Miao Miao widened her eyes and turned to look at Qin Jin in disbelief. Sorry, I lied to you again. Qin Jin broke Shin Miao Miao's heart meridian with one palm. This was probably the most painless way to die. Throwing the corpse aside, Qin Jin closed the door again. Those who were related to his death were all dead. That's right. As for that young Master Bai and the old man, I'll let them live for a while and solve the matter in front of me first. Wei Chang really liked this kind of scene, but in Qin Jin's eyes he was completely like an old uncle who was scared silly, but the woman he was hugging was his. This was absolutely unforgivable. He's mine, Qin Jin said in a low voice. Wei Chang hugged the unconscious Tang Wei, caressed her soft hair and said with a light smile, she belongs to me now. Hee, when you become like them she will belong to me. Human, who gave you such confidence? Sometimes Wei Chang admired the mysterious confidence of humans. Did they really think that they were very powerful after killing these ants? Qin Jin suddenly let out a burst of wild laughter. Confidence? Because my name is Qin Jin. My return will set off a storm and the world will tremble for me. My enemies are only fit to hide in a corner and tremble. My women will enjoy my body and you will become a corpse just like them. You said my line. Wei Chang was very angry. I have never seen such an arrogant human before. Thinking back then, his honor and I were completely annihilated by the humans and revived to this point. Back then, we were completely capable of killing our way back to the humans and turning the world upside down. However, he didn't. He didn't try to conquer this ant-like human because of his strength. He didn't say such words to anyone because it was really low, and it would lower his own level. Furthermore, even though he kept on saying that he wanted to take revenge, he was completely unable to reach his honor's mental state. He was destined to not be able to become a strong martial artist. What? Lines? Uncle, have you gone stupid from fear? Wei Chang laughed lightly, then slowly stretched out his hand. With his palm facing upwards, his hand formed into a claw shape. Human, actually you acted cool enough today, but the mistake is, you actually acted cool in front of me. You. Qin Jin sensed a dangerous aura. He wanted to retaliate, but his entire body was unable to move. Immediately he looked at Wei Chang with a horrified gaze. A black whirlpool condensed in the center of Wei Chang's palm, seemingly like it was sucking something. Meanwhile, Qin Jin seemed like something was about to leave his body. Wei Chang kept his smile and with a very serious expression he declared, you actually dared to insult the great his honor as trash, that has decided your fate from now on. Killing people isn't your fault, the fault lies in your mouth. Even if you act cool, there must be a limit. If you don't act cool properly, you will become an idiot, and you will regret your failure to act cool in the endless darkness. Stopping speaking, Wei Chang clenched his 5 fingers. Qin Jin's primordial spirit could be seen being forcefully pulled out by Wei Chang. This is what is truly terrifying. Qin Jin's physical body became sluggish, and his primordial spirit was frantically shouting, who exactly are you? Why are you imprisoning my primordial spirit? I am one of the 7 deadly sins under the Supreme Overlord's command. Gluttony, you can call me Wei Chang. As for why I imprisoned your primordial spirit, of course it is to refine it. Xiao Tang's body is weak, so your primordial spirit can be treated as a small snack for her to eat. No, no, no. I am Qin Jin. I am a man who has returned from cultivation. I am a man who will make the world tremble. Qin Jin shouted frantically, unwilling to believe the truth in front of his eyes, but it was so real. I know I was wrong. I don't want this woman anymore. As long as you don't refine my primordial spirit, I will do anything you want me to. I will lick your shoes for you, okay? Qin Jin knew the consequences of refining his primordial spirit. He would disappear forever and all of his efforts would be wasted. Why didn't I just take revenge? Why? If I leave, I won't be like this anymore. Why didn't I leave? Why am I still being greedy for a beauty? Master is right, beauty is poison. Wei Chong laughed. Lick my shoes for me? Do you know how to lick coins? Oh. Seems like you don't. The black fog on Wei Chang's hand immediately became denser. How is that black fog? It is clearly underworld fire. No, no. I can learn it, spare me. I don't want to die. I am the master. The begging voice disappeared within the underworld fire. And in just a minute the primordial spirit was refined by the underworld fire. A black pearl could be seen floating on Wei Chang's palm, and after swallowing it, Tang Wei would obtain Qin Jin's cultivation. Following Wei Chang's wave of his hand, Tang Wei, who was in a coma, swallowed the black pearl. Wei Chong carried Tang Wei, looked at the soulless Qin Jin and the corpses on the ground, then took out his phone. Oh, is this Yao Yao Ling? A murder happened in the Pin E clubhouse. After hanging up the phone, Wei Chong let out a breath. As a legal citizen seeing this kind of thing happening, I definitely can't just stand by and watch. I have to immediately call Yao Yao Ling for help. Carrying Tang Wei, Wei Chong left the Pin E clubhouse. Inside the Pin E clubhouse's boss office, Bai Chi's brows were tightly wrinkled as he looked at the surveillance camera. Young Master Bai, from the looks of it, this person seemed to have absorbed something. Bai Chi did not speak, and after pondering for a while he said, "My big sister, what did brother-in-law say?" Young Miss said to not do anything for the time being and to wait and see. Chapter 80. Last night Miss ordered this lowly one to investigate overnight. This man is called Wei Chong. He is the security captain of Leisure Bar. The woman in his embrace is just a waitress in Leisure Bar, and the boss of Leisure Bar is called Yi Hua. He is the man who won 50 billion from young master's brother-in-law last night. The first time they appeared was 5 years ago. At that time they had come into contact with Fifth Master, and after that they started to operate a leisure bar. Everything was uneventful until Qing family's Xianxia appeared last month. Bai Chi asked confusedly, "Xianxia? What do you mean?" The investigation is still continuing, and the preliminary result is that the two of them had a relationship. And these few days, Xianxia directly stayed at Leisure Bar, and of course, there was also his little sister, Qin Yutong. Qin Yutong? Are you talking about that movie Queen? Bai Chi asked curiously. Yes. It seemed like Bai Chi was also interested in the famous Qin Yutong. After all, he was only a young man. How could he resist the temptation of Qin Yutong? Is there any other news? What faction is behind them? Bai Chi asked. Actually, saying so much wasn't of much use. I haven't found out yet, but right now Leisure Bar's boss Yi Hua and Jiu Ye's relationship isn't bad. Bai Chi touched his forehead as he looked at the surveillance camera from last night. Jiu Yi is indeed a character, the spokesperson of a crafty old fox. Don't look at how he is only holed up in a small Longan city, his hands are already all over the country. The old man chuckled. No matter how powerful the ninth master is, he can't compare to the eldest Mississippi. Of course. Who is my sister? She's a woman known as the Beauty of the North. Although my brother-in-law is a bit sloppy, he's still a good match for my sister, unlike other men who have multiple wives, Bai Chi muttered. The old man chuckled and didn't say anything. But my brother-in-law doesn't have the guts to look for other women, Bai Chi added. You're right, young master. The old man smiled. Bai Chi patted his pants and said, Old He, let's go to Zijin City. I still want to ask my sister in person. Alright, I'll arrange the plane right away. Bai Chi, who was about to leave, suddenly paused and turned his head to ask, Old He, do you think the Shao family will return the money? I'm not sure about Shao Yi, but the woman beside him will definitely not return it. Then do you think the boss of this bar will step on the accounts? I really don't know. Old Chi, you really know how to joke around. Let's go to Zijin City and wait and see. I feel like there's going to be a good show to watch. I've long been sick of this Xiaoyi. Back then he even chased after my sister. Both of them have wives and he acts pretentiously all day long. Everyone in the circle calls him the pretentious King Xiao. Bai Qi said with disdain. Qing Yutong placed both of her hands on her chin, opened her beautiful eyes, pouted her small mouth and acted very cute. Qingye completely couldn't stand it anymore, raised her hand and slapped. Big sister, what are you doing? Qing Yutong rubbed onto her head, feeling very wronged, seemingly wanting her brother-in-law to make the decision. Yi Hua shook his head. Qingya, Yutong is already stupid enough, don't hit her anymore. Brother-in-law, you. Qingye silently nodded her head. That is indeed the case. Pull. You all collude with each other to bully a lonely little sister. My dear little nephew, when are you going to come out? At least we can have a companion. Yi Hua, Qingya. Right when the three of them were randomly showing off, a hand grenade appeared out of nowhere and entered through the window. However, before the hand grenade landed on the ground, it exploded. Yi Hua brought along his wife and sister-in-law and died, and there was also a water buddy who was hiding at the corner of the wall. Yi Hua, it's all your fault. Brother-in-law, it's all your fault. Yi Hua put down his mouse and said faintly, what are we eating for lunch? Yi Hua, you changed the topic again. Brother-in-law, how can you be like this? How about eating Sichuan cuisine? Or Hunan cuisine? Actually, I still want to eat grilled chicken wings. Qingye stood up and stretched her waist. That perfect curve of hers immediately made people unable to take their eyes off her. Yi Hua expressed that he was already used to it, and Qing Yutong expressed that her curve was even better. Let's order takeout, I don't want to go out, it's hot outside. Qingye casually picked up her phone and prepared to order on Meituan. Qing Yutong was rather surprised. Big sister, you weren't like this in the past, could it be that you became lazy after getting pregnant? Chapter 81. Yi Hua said faintly, what does it have to do with me? Qingye was too lazy to argue with Yi Hua and asked, what do you guys want to eat? Lanzhou fried rice, add an egg. Yi Hua said faintly. It has been a long time since I ate Lanzhou fried rice. Qingye let out a sigh of relief. Luckily I didn't order crayfish. Let's eat crayfish tonight. Yi Hua added. Qingye's face immediately darkened. Qing Yutong thought for a while. Big sister, help me order a McFlurry, I want strawberry flavored and also 2 pairs of chicken wings. You don't want to control your weight anymore? Qingye sized up Qing Yutong and asked. Qing Yutong stood up and turned around. Do I still need to control my figure, brother-in-law? Not bad. Yi Hua had to give his sister-in-law a thumbs up. Other than the slight flaw in her personality, she is still very perfect. Not bad my ass. Yi Hua, where are your eyeballs looking at? Oh, looking at sister-in-law. Yi Hua said faintly. Brother-in-law, don't be like this, big sister is still here. Then wait until she is not here. Qingye knew that the two of them were teasing her, but she was still angry. Alright, I will make space for you guys then. Just like this, the daily quarrel started again. Yi Hua shook his head helplessly. Qingye's mental state still needs to be trained. If she gets angry just like this, if she gets provoked by the enemy a few times, wouldn't she fly into the sky? Big sister has such a bad temper. Even Qing Yutong sighed. Seeing that her brother-in-law did not have the intention to chase after them, Qing Yutong asked in a low voice, brother-in-law, why don't you chase after them? I can only look at you after your big sister left. What brother-in-law is so perverted, he likes sister-in-law authentic beautiful legs, do you want to know? Qing Yutong could be seen revealing her snow-white long legs. She silently thought, if brother-in-law can quickly touch them, then I will be able to get a quest point. You are also very perverted. Yi Hua took a look at the long legs and said. Qing Yutong. Half an hour later the food delivery arrived. It was a pity that Qingye was still angry and did not come over to eat. Yi Hua had no choice but to go and coax her. It is fine if the adult is hungry, but I don't want my child to be hungry. Pushing open the bedroom door, Yi Hua discovered that Qingye was sitting on the bed, revealing her miserable back view, looking just like a resentful wife. Qingye, come over and eat. Yi Hua shouted out. In actuality, this action of his was already giving the other party a lot of face. When had Yi Hua ever called others out for a meal? He only knows how to send people to hell. What are you calling me for? Aren't you having fun with your sister-in-law? I don't dare to disturb master's mood. Qingya was very jealous. Yihua pulled Qingya up and said faintly, "All right, don't make me angry." You. Qingya snorted. If it wasn't for the fact that you won 50 billion, if you don't beg me a few times today, I wouldn't have let you off so easily. Qin Yutong looked at her brother-in-law who was pulling her big sister into the room and clicked her tongue. Big sister, can't you be a little more reserved? At the very least, you should at least be able to last for 2 minutes, right? Every time brother-in-law makes a move, you would always surrender in less than a minute. As a woman, I have to look down on you. Eat your food, don't talk so much. Qin Ye's beautiful eyes widened. Isn't it because he is too strong I am unable to resist him? Ha ha ha. Right, just now the company gave me a call. Tomorrow you should make a trip to Gao Hai City to take some publicity photos. Qin Ye said while holding on to her rice bowl. Hearing that, Qin Yutong became worried. Tomorrow? Brother-in-law, come with me. Not free, I have to bring your big sister out for a walk tomorrow. Alright you guys. You guys are just purposely making me go away so that you can enjoy your world with just the two of you, right? I have seen through you guys. Qin Yutong got angry, crossed her arms around her chest and raised her chin up high. Qin Ye rolled her eyes at Yihua. When did I agree to go out with you? Since you want to be a streamer, then go and do it properly. Don't drop the ball, if not you can go back and be your movie empress. Qin Ye said. Qin Yutong turned her head and looked outside the window. Her small mouth was so big that an oil bottle could be hung on it. With a bad temper, I won't be coming back. Let's see if you guys are anxious or not after eating. Everyone was not in a hurry to play games. Qin Ye had the habit of taking afternoon naps, and Yihua had to cultivate his human nature. Qin Yutong, his sister-in-law, joined in as well. The two of them sat in the office and looked happy. Qin Yutong would occasionally laugh, and Yihua wished that he could sew his sister-in-law's mouth shut. Is it that funny? Qin Ye directly overslept. If not for her phone ringing, she would have probably slept till night time. Qing. The phone call was from Lu Hang. Qin Ye propped up her body and leaned against the headboard of the bed. Her lazy charm made people's hearts itch, and they wished that they could press Qin Ye under their body and enjoy to their heart's content. What's the matter? Lu Hang said gravely. The matter is like this. Longhu Real Estate is also considered as a business partner. Their boss's daughter was killed by someone today. Shouldn't we express our gratitude? Boss's daughter? What's the situation? Qin Ye wore her slippers and stood beside the window and looked at the sunset. Lu Hang swallowed his saliva. I am not very clear about the specifics just now. It was also a subordinate who reported it to me and I only watched the television. Right, I got it. Qin Ye hung up the phone. If I am not in Long'an City it would be fine, but now that I am here I still have to go over to take a look. Opening the door and walking out of the bedroom, Qin Ye arrived at Yihua's office. Upon opening the door she heard a voice that would make one's head ache. I will still come back. They actually looked happy for the entire afternoon. Qin Ye wished that she could kick these two people awake. Just how old are they already? Big sister, quickly come, it is going to start again soon. Qin Ye picked up the remote control and changed to Long'an City's channel. As expected, it was reporting about this matter. Audience in front of the TV, the place where I am at right now is the crime scene. Everyone can still clearly see the bloodstains on the ground. It can be seen how terrifying it was at that time. The murderer is even more shocking. This person is called Qin Jin. He is the successor of Qin Group, and among the people who died at the scene, there is even his fiancée. According to my understanding, after Qin Group went bankrupt, Qin Jin had been very quiet. I believe that the murder this time was meticulously planned by Qin Jin, and the method was even more inhumane. The deceased are all the children of Long'an City's famous rich merchants. It can be seen how big his heart for vengeance is. The following scene is a bit too extreme. If there are children present at the scene, please move away. The scene changed. A man could be seen ferociously stepping on a woman. Although the scene was blurred out, the begging voice that came out from the television was shocking, especially that begging voice that gradually became softer until it was completely gone. But that man was still stepping on the woman continuously, causing people's scalp to go numb. Chapter 82. Yihua did not have any reaction. Isn't it just a few people dying? People die in this world every day, what is there to be surprised about? Xianxia was obviously not used to it. She picked up the remote control and changed the channel, then called Lu Hang again. Is the one who died Xin Tao's daughter or Xin Shuai's daughter? It's Xin Tao's daughter, Xin Miao Miao. So pitiful. Xianxia sighed. After hanging up the phone, Xianxia slowly sat beside Yihua and suddenly hugged onto Yihua's arm. This person died just like that, this is really sudden. Big sister, what happened? Is your friend inside as well? Qing Yutong asked concernedly. The daughter of a business partner is inside. Xianxia let out a sigh of relief. In the future I have to properly discipline my own child. That is really too unfortunate. Qing Yutong said regretfully. Yihua patted onto Xianxia's head. What is there to be sad about? Is your heart made of stone, can't you even sigh for a bit? Xianxia poked onto Yihua's heart and said coquettishly. Yihua said disapprovingly, everyone is destined to die, it is just that it was brought forward. According to the legends, people reincarnated in advance. Nonsense. All right, I ordered the crayfish. Yihua said faintly. Xianxia rubbed onto her stomach. I am not hungry. You can just peel it. Yihua. I am your wife, not your servant. Qing Yutong sighed. Big sister, don't quarrel with brother-in-law, you won't be able to hold on for more than a minute anyway, why bother? Yutong does have some opinions, Xianxia, give up struggling. The two of you can. I will remember it. Xianxia said angrily, but there was nothing she could do. I can't win against him and acting coquettishly isn't my style. I am so depressed, I actually found this kind of husband. How many couples did I break up in my previous life in exchange for this kind of retribution? When the fried crayfish arrived, the stubborn Xianxia still obediently helped Yihua peel it, just that the bitter taste filled the entire room as if she was kidnapped by Yihua. And Yihua was also very particular, he once again mixed a cup of dragon blood wine for his wife and sister-in-law. Xianxia's face immediately turned bright. Yihua thought silently, TikTok really doesn't lie, this woman will be fine after being coaxed a bit. Qing Yutong was even more careful when she drank the wine. Last time she drank the wine in a single gulp and today she had to drink it slowly bit by bit. Xianxia, let me tell you something. Yihua suddenly said while eating the prawn meat that Xianxia peeled. Xianxia put down the bar, then lightly licked her cherry lips with her fragrant tongue, looking exceptionally cute, and Qing Yutong immediately cast a glance at Yihua. Seeing brother-in-law's serious look, it seems like he has already started to discipline his wife. Big sister is so miserable. Luckily I am not brother-in-law's concubine, I almost scared myself to death. As a boss, I don't have to do everything personally. Yihua was indeed preparing to start training the boss. In this aspect I have to properly teach him. Xianxia snorted coldly. If I don't do it, who is going to do it? Are you going to do it? If this subordinate isn't used to do things, then what's the use of having him? As the boss of the group, all you have to do is to issue orders. Doing everything yourself is bullshit. It's just like the emperor in the past who only cared about sitting on the throne and controlling the situation. Qing Yutong nodded her head. What brother-in-law said makes sense. Shut up. Xianxia glared at her little sister. Just whose side are you standing on? Look, even Yutong knows about it, yet you as the big sister still don't know about it. Yihua placed his chopsticks straight, slightly leaned on the chair and drank the dragon blood wine. Xianxia pursed her lips and for the first time she didn't refute. After a while she said, after saying so much, you just want me to not go and mourn, right? Of course, think about it, there are so many levels of difference between the two of you, even if you want to go it would be that driver from that day. Yihua said. Xianxia pouted her mouth and muttered, inhumane, what did you say? Yihua asked gravely. Xianxia's heart trembled, she felt that Yihua's tone just now was very heavy. Is there a need for that? I am just going to comfort my partner, there is no other meaning. However, to Yihua there is a huge disparity in status between the two of them. A mere human, why is there a need for me to let my wife go? Brother-in-law, come, your sister-in-law will peel the prawns for you, calm down, be obedient. Yihua fiercely glared at his sister-in-law and the latter stuck out her tongue. Xianxia, you just have to remember one point, you are the boss, you are the sky. Yihua added a sentence and completed the lesson of disciplining his wife. Big sister, did you hear that? If you are the sky, then brother-in-law is the ground. Xianxia stretched out her hand unhappily and slapped onto her sister-in-law. and the latter rubbed onto her head pitifully. That's right. I admit that what you said is right, but do you know about respecting the old and loving the young? Do you know about China's tradition? What's wrong with abandoning one's position? A partner's daughter passed away, what's wrong with going and mourning for her? Xianxia questioned and immediately started disciplining her husband. Yihua didn't say anything. According to China's tradition, it is indeed necessary to do so. Seeing that Yihua didn't say anything, Xianxia snorted. You have your reasons, I also have my reasons. What's wrong with the boss? Can't the boss care about the subordinate? The human heart is made of flesh, not made of iron. If you treat others well, others will treat you well. Just like you, when have you ever treated me well before? Touch your own conscience and say, have you ever cared about me before? And what about me? In the morning when I went to buy breakfast for you, I still had to be scolded by you, and I even had to peel crayfish for you. Did I ever say that my fingers were hurting from the spiciness? I have always been patient and tolerant. I also have a temper. Don't think that I am afraid of you. When I get angry, even I am afraid of myself. Yihua was a little startled, and Qin Yutong was also shocked by her big sister's imposing manner. She is truly a heroine among women. I have to give her a thumbs up and praise her. The more Xianxia spoke, the angrier she got, and she began to complain about the grievances she suffered these few days. Also, you only know how to watch cartoons every day, and now that you are addicted to playing games, you still don't go out and look for a job. That's right. I can support you for your entire life, but you also need to have a bit of ambition. If the child sees that his father only knows how to watch cartoons and play games, how disappointed would he be? Also, don't think that just because I treat you well you can bully me as you wish. I, Xianxia, also have my dignity. Please respect me. After finished speaking, Xianxia swallowed her saliva. Looking at that stupefied look on Yihua's face, I wonder if he is going to get angry again. After a long time, Yihua said to Qin Yutong, Yutong, how about ordering another 5 pounds of sugar? Qin Yutong didn't know how to reply and chose to remain silent. Xianxia was angered to the point that she was biting her lips. Not only did this person not talk back, but he is actually punishing me in disguise, shameless to the extreme. I was wrong. Xianxia lowered her head and admitted defeat. Even she herself didn't know why she had to be like this. If it was in the past, she would feel that she had lost a lot of face, but right now she didn't feel like this. The corner of Yihua's mouth slightly rose. You are not wrong, I will accompany you tonight. A dignified supreme overlord being scolded by his wife, and he still can't refute. This is truly embarrassing. This matter has to be kept a secret, and all the people who know about it have to be silenced. Chapter 83. The one who was the most shocked was definitely Xianxia. Right now, I can still be considered to have understood this man. As long as you go against him even a little bit, he would not let you off. I didn't expect that he would actually change today. He even took the initiative to say that he would accompany me. Is he expressing his goodwill to me? At least he has a bit of conscience. He knows how to curry favor with his wife. Yihua only felt that what Xianxia said was reasonable. If one wants to understand human nature, then one has to get along. Cartoons are only one side of things. Yihua actually wanted to learn a bit from Xianxia. The current situation immediately became clear. Yihua taught Xianxia dark thoughts, while Xianxia taught Yihua how to be a person. This is a bit interesting. After the meal, Xianxia asked her little sister, do you want to go out for a walk? Forget it, in case someone says that I am a third wheel. Moreover, I am still alive. It hasn't expired yet. Qin Yutong snorted, indicating that she was also famous. She might as well just stay at home and play games. Yihua had already changed his clothes and said faintly, let's go. I will go and change my clothes then. Let's do this. Yihua pulled Xianxia and left. Hey, I don't look good like this, right? Xianxia shouted anxiously. She did not even tie up her hair and was still wearing a loose t-shirt. The main point was that it was so long that it could be worn as a skirt. If one did not know, they would have thought that she was not wearing pants. I feel good, I look like a primary school student. You. Xianxia knew this fellow just wants to make a fool of me. I will go and get the car key then. Yihua still didn't know what Xianxia was thinking about. This Longan city isn't big, but it isn't small either. We can just walk. Moreover, you need to walk more right now. But I am wearing slippers. Carry you. In an instant, Xianxia was speechless and punched Yihua. However, this action was just like a girlfriend acting coquettishly, and it was seen by all the employees on the first floor. I can't help but admire the boss. At the start this beauty was cold, but in just a few days she broke the ice and even punched your chest with her small fists. Xianxia was startled and immediately changed her mode. I cannot let my persona collapse. Yihua shook his head. This woman likes to be like this. In actuality, her inner heart is very fragile, and she uses cold arrogance to disguise her inner weakness. When the two of them walked out of leisure bar, they just so happened to see Wei Chong and Tang Wei walking over while holding hands. This stunned Wei Chong while Xianxia was sizing them up curiously. Boss! Boss! Wei Chong and Tang Wei shouted out. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows and asked, You too? Boss, Lil Tang is my girlfriend now. Wei Chong was a little nervous. However, when he thought about Lai Gu, there are already 3 of them and I am only one. Will Lai Gu stop me? Of course Yihua wouldn't stop Wei Chong, he was just too curious. Wei Chong had been following me for a few hundred years, and I have never seen him get close to a woman before. Compared to women, Wei Chong prefers to eat women. Today when I saw Wei Chong today, my 3 views on the world, the 3 views. Yihua nodded his head, and not bad. Wei Chong heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for your praise, boss. Thank you, boss. Tang Wei also thanked him. Although she did not understand why, she felt that this was the right thing to do. Go get busy. Yes. Xianxia took a puzzled look at Yihua, then followed after Yihua. Upon seeing that Yihua's brows were tightly wrinkled, Xianxia asked, What's with that expression of yours? Are you unhappy that they are together? No, I'm just curious, that's all. Yihua said lightly. What's there to be curious about? It's just that their age is a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all. Xianxia was rather open-minded and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Speaking of age, we are also a few hundred years apart. Yihua didn't discuss Wei Chang's matters with Xianxia in depth, and while holding on to Xianxia's tender and delicate hands he asked, Is it really that painful? What do you think? Although Xianxia was venting out her dissatisfaction, her heart felt sweet. You will get used to it. Yihua. If I continue to peel crayfish for you, I will change my surname to yours. Just now she thought that Yihua had changed, but in the end he was still the same, causing her to explode from anger. Meanwhile, Yihua hugged onto his wife's waist and said faintly, You said that I don't care about you? Did I say something wrong? Some care can't be seen, can't be touched, one has to use one's heart to feel it. It's just that you are unable to experience it. Yihua said lightly. This stupid woman only looks at the surface. I really don't know how she managed to become a big company. Pescade, you are starting to talk nonsense again. Xianxia was clearly lacking in confidence. Thinking back to the past few days, Yihua did care about me a little. In any case, compared to the past few days, Yihua was much better. Walking out of the alley and onto the main street, the two of them were destined to be the center of attention, especially the way Xianxia was dressed. It was too girlish, and she was even wearing a pair of cute slippers. If she were to tie her hair into 2 ponytails, she would almost look like a loli. Xianxia was very embarrassed. It was the first time that I dressed like this, and I looked like I was pretending to be young. Especially those men whose eyeballs were about to pop out, and there were even a few who knocked into electricity poles. Where does that person live? Xianxia had unknowingly held onto Yihua's hand. I don't know. I don't know. Yihua said gravely. It seems like she ran out of the house without knowing anything. I will make a call and ask. Xianxia hurriedly said. One touch and it's over. Yihua looked at the bashful Xianxia and asked, Did you forget to bring your phone as well? Who asked you to pull me out of the house? Xianxia said coldly as she pinched onto Yihua's arm. You sure are quick to shift the blame. In any case, it is all your fault. Forget it, just treat it as taking a stroll outside, don't think about going to mourn. Xianxia let out a deep sigh. Right now I can only do this. No, this fellow definitely brought his phone with him. Lend me your phone for a while. Do you remember the phone number? Yihua asked back. You only know how to show off. Xianxia was very melancholic. I am completely under the control of Yihua, and I don't even have a bit of leeway to retaliate. If only this man was a bit more obedient. Although I am very gloomy, I feel that this kind of life isn't bad at all. After dinner I took a stroll with Yihua. Walking on the bustling street, there was no false flattery, there was also no business deception, and there was also no heavy pressure. It was as if all the pressure was shouldered by the man beside her, but he didn't seem to have done anything. Meanwhile, Zhu Yi was also very vexed today. Such a thing actually happened in Long'an City. Although it has nothing to do with me, there are still some people who pointed the spearhead at me. I am truly very vexed. Right now I still have to go and give those rich merchants an explanation. What is there to say about this? If you want to find someone, then go and find Bai family. And that Bai Qi ran away the moment something happened. He is simply shameless. Jiu Yi, who was sitting in the Rolls-Royce Phantom, looked at the pedestrians on the street. Those two that I met at the banquet yesterday, I probably won't meet them today, right? Please don't appear. The moment you two appear, I will be embarrassed. Chapter 84. Damn it. Why did I have to pass by this road just now? Oh my god. I should just get off the car and ask. Yi Hua and Xianxia didn't pay attention to the cars on the road at all and were only taking a silent stroll. If not for the two of them holding hands, just by looking at their expressions, one would have thought that they were strangers. A Rolls-Royce Phantom suddenly stopped at the roadside. Jiu Yi quickly arrived in front of Yi Hua and Xianxia and said with a smile, "Boss, lady boss, what a coincidence." Yi Hua really didn't like others disturbing his peace and quiet. "Are you following me?" "Boss, I don't have that kind of free time." "Yi Hua, it's just a coincidence." Xianxia smiled lightly. "I got off the car out of goodwill and greeted you, yet your face turned black. You are not giving me face at all." "Lady boss sure is magnanimous." Jiu Yi had a good impression of Xianxia. "Not only is this woman beautiful, she also has a good heart." Xianxia asked with a smile, "Where are you going, Director Gong?" "Lady boss, don't call me Director Gong, just call me Xiaojiu." "Ah." Xianxia was a bit stupefied. This was the first time I met such a humble person. Yi Hua said faintly, "Just call me when I ask you to." Jiu Yi laughed dryly. "Lady boss, I was just about to go to Qinghe Garden. It's all because of that matter that happened at noon." "Murder?" Xianxia asked. "Lady boss knows about it too. Those relatives of mine are making a fuss right now. I have to go out and talk to them." "Just nice, I was just about to go out as well," Xianxia said and poked Yi Hua's waist. Yi Hua really wanted to give this Jiu Yi a slap. "It's fine if you just drove by. Why did you have to get off the car? Are you bored? Can't you see that I am taking a stroll with my wife after dinner?" "Boss, lady boss, please get on the car." Jiu Yi exclaimed that he was very lucky. If the boss went out, things would be much simpler. "Just that, will the boss go out?" "This is a problem, this isn't right. As long as the lady boss goes out, doesn't that mean that the boss also has to go out?" Yi Hua helplessly let Xianxia lead him away. To be honest, Yi Hua really wasn't willing to go. "I might as well stay at home and play games with my sister-in-law." Qinghe Garden was a cemetery in Long'an City. The people who were able to live in this cemetery were mostly the elders of rich people. The price of the cemetery was about the same as buying a house, but the size of the cemetery was even smaller than buying a house. However, today's Clear Harmony Garden seemed to be exceptionally gloomy, and there was even a bit of austere atmosphere in the atmosphere. Xianxia looked at the black-clothed men who were standing on both sides of the hall. Their sleeves were tied with white silk scarves, and they looked as if they were prepared to fight. Xianxia couldn't help but hold on to Yi Hua's hand tightly. The entire road leading to the park was filled with men in black. The cars that entered were stopped without permission. Of course, they didn't dare to stop Lord Jiu's car. Basically, it was the reporters. When the reporters saw Lord Jiu's car, they were all excited. Driving all the way up the mountain, the parking lot was filled with all kinds of luxurious cars. The entire garden was divided into 5 areas and they were even marked. Shin Clan, Jia Clan, Yu Clan, Han Clan, Li Clan. These 5 families were most likely the most famous families in Long'an City. Of course, there was also Qing family. Unfortunately, in just one afternoon, all the juniors had been killed. Although the murderer had been caught, this was not enough to vent their anger. It was also impossible to let this matter go just like that. As the owner of the clubhouse, Bai family had yet to say anything. When those big shots in front of the morning hall saw that Lord Jiu's car had arrived, they quickly walked over. Lord Jiu really wanted to cry. "If this couple wasn't here, how dignified would I be? With them here, I am just like a small follower." Lord Jiu, who was originally sitting at the back of the car, sat on the front passenger seat. After the car stopped, he got off the car first. When everyone saw Lord Jiu getting off the front passenger seat, they were puzzled for a bit, but they didn't think much about it. "Lord Jiu, you have finally come. Lord Jiu, you have to uphold justice for us. Lord Jiu, that Bai family is bullying us too much. This northerner is already riding on our heads. Lord Jiu, you have to be the judge." What's the rush, can't you see that I still have to open the car door? Under everyone's astonishment, Lord Jiu personally opened the front passenger seat door. Seeing the woman who got off the car first, everyone was stunned. Although the woman was not dressed that well, it was unable to conceal the beauty that was in her bones. That long t-shirt added a different kind of allure to the woman. Those juniors were all dumbfounded. Why is this woman so beautiful? She is too perfect. Li Qinyi was the family head of Li family. He had a very fat build. Who knows how many layers his chin had? Why does this woman look so familiar? Li Qinyi felt that he had seen her somewhere before. Han Wei was the family head of Han family. He had a slightly fat build. I think so too. Yu family's family head, Yuxi's complexion was very bad. Why would Lord Jiu open the door for a woman? Jia Gao Ao, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, said, "Perhaps she is some big shot." And Shen Tao recognized Xianxia with a single look as if he had seen his savior. He knelt in front of Xianxia. "Xiao Qing, you have to uphold justice for me. I only have this one daughter. She is usually very obedient, but after not seeing her for a few hours, she has already sent off her daughter." Everyone was shocked. No wonder she looks familiar. She is actually Qing family's Xianxia. How did she become so beautiful? In actuality, Shen Tao was the most miserable. He got his daughter when he was old and he doted on her too much. She was the kind of person who was afraid of melting when she was in his mouth and afraid of breaking when she was in his hands. Brother Miao Miao is so pitiful. Shen Shui, that damn fatty, knelt beside Shen Tao and cried very reluctantly. Brother only has this one child, and now that she has passed away, I might not be able to give birth to another child even if I want to. If that's the case, I can only take advantage of my son in the future. This is truly an accident. Xianxia did not expect that Shen Tao would have such a big reaction. She wanted to help Shen Tao up, but Yihua just happened to come out from the car and stopped Xianxia. That's right, this is done on purpose. Kneeling down is their honor, ignoring them is your right. Everyone's gaze landed on Yihua, and discovered that the women of Qing family seemed to be taking this man as their master. This is too mystical, too sudden. Some people recognized Yihua. After all, they had attended the banquet last night and also heard about the gambling house last night. Truly crazy, gambling all of their family's wealth. I heard that in the end Xiao family and Tang family left with a black face. Boss, lady boss, we have arrived. Lord Jiu's heart was bleeding. In the future, if I see them, I will take a detour. The dignified Lord Jiu actually called them boss and lady boss. Just what is going on? Could it be that that man has a special identity? If not, why would Lord Jiu be so respectful? Xiao Shen, the dead cannot come back to life. My condolences. Xianxia said in a deep voice. For a man to cry so pitifully, it could be seen how much pain his heart was in. Yihua did not make any speech. As a man, what does crying count as? If it was my subordinate, I would have given him a slap. Xiao Qing, Lord Jiu, my daughter died in vain, but the murderer that was caught is an idiot. It must be the doing of the Rank 1 club. Shen Tao hammered the cement floor, feeling that everything that happened today was done by family from behind. Chapter 85. Jiuyi took a look at Yihua, and seeing that Yihua did not plan to say anything, Jiuyi patted Yihua's hand. Let's talk inside. This matter is not a small matter. It can be big or small. Lord Jiu's words shocked everyone. Big or small? What did he mean? Yihua, on the other hand, was hugging onto Xianxia to prevent her from showing the pity of a woman. Towards Jiu Ye's words, Yihua wasn't the slightest bit interested. Yihua, let go of me. Xianxia said in a low voice, feeling a little embarrassed. Yihua said faintly, you have been hugging me for the entire night, and now that I'm hugging you, that's all. Alright, you can go and sleep on the sofa tonight. Why are you so stingy? There are so many people here. You can hug me all you want when we get home. Follow me. Don't forget what you said before. In any case, I'm a weak woman. If you want to use force, there's nothing I can do. However, I will despise you. Xianxia flipped her hair indifferently. I am so beautiful and sexy. It is inevitable for Yihua's beastly heart to burst out when I am hugging onto him at night. She could understand him, but she would also despise him. Yihua took a faint look at Xianxia. You? That's for the best. Remember that look of disdain in your eyes. In the future, even if you beg me, I won't agree. Yihua took a deep breath. Do I even need to request anything from you? Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was taking a deep breath, Xianxia did not continue on. Right now she had learned to not go overboard. Raising her small hand, Xianxia smacked towards Yi Hua's butt. Yi Hua looked at Xianxia in disbelief, and after a while he said gravely, "Xianxia, I will teach you a lesson tonight. I won't bow down to evil forces. You will lower your head." Yi Hua's right hand tightened and Xianxia cried out in surprise, and her entire body fell into Yi Hua's embrace. This bastard, he didn't even know where he was. Everyone else was sad. Yi Hua expressed that it was none of my business. "Boss, let's go in and talk," Lord Zhou said in a low voice. If the boss didn't move, he wouldn't dare to move. As for the wealthy businessman behind him, he saw that Lord Zhou didn't move, so he didn't move either. He just watched the couple in front of him being lovey-dovey. Xianxia wished that she could dig a hole and hide herself. Originally, it was already very awkward for her to come out wearing this set of clothes, but I didn't expect that when I turned around just now, those people would be following behind me. Everyone was speechless. Qing family had a great background in Long'an City, and right now they were even preparing to take root in Zijin City. Although there was still a gap between them and those big families in Zijin City, in any case they were still able to squeeze into Zijin City. As for this man, he was very mysterious. He didn't look like a gigolo. The group arrived at a side room in Clear Harmony Garden. Yi Hua and Xianxia sat down and Yi Hua said faintly, "You two can chat." Everyone sat down and Lord Zhou let out a sigh of relief. "Everyone, I am also very sorry that such a thing happened, but the dead cannot come back to life. Now that the culprit has been caught, everyone's hearts can be appeased. As for the Bai family, in fact, it is not good for you or me if this matter is blown up." Li Qianyi disagreed. "Ninth Master, our children were murdered in the first-class clubhouse, so the Bai family has to take responsibility." "That's right, Director Li is right." Jia Gao Ao agreed. "Lord Zhou, it can't be that you're afraid of the Bai family and that's why you're siding with them, right?" Yusi asked solemnly. Lord Zhou said helplessly, "I can understand everyone's feelings. It's fine if you want to pursue the Bai clan's responsibility, but you need some time. You can't be thinking of killing your way over, right? Ninth Master, no matter how powerful the Bai family is or how high their status is, they should give us an explanation for what happened." Han Wei's face turned cold. Yi Hua finally understood. These people are afraid of Bai family and want to use Xiao Jiao as cannon fodder. However, how could these little rich merchants have the guts to challenge the Bai family? Although they were standing on the side of reason, it was still unusual. That was how humans were. They schemed against each other and schemed against each other. It was the same even when they were playing games. "That's right. Do you think we, the South, are afraid of the North?" Li Qianyi said boldly, as if he wanted to start a war with the North. Yi Hua held onto his chin and asked, "Xianxia, how is this Bai family?" "Bai family is very strong, especially Bai family's women. The woman that Wang Debao married yesterday is a woman from Bai family," Xianxia said in a low voice. "How many wives does Wang Debao have?" Yi Hua asked. "Why do you care about that?" "How many?" Xianxia said coldly. "Wang Debao is very single-minded, he only has one wife." "This Wang Debao is indeed a bit interesting," Yi Hua said faintly. "Which of those who have a bit of strength doesn't have a bunch of wives and concubines?" "That Xiao Yi and that Tang Wushuang," Xianxia mumbled, "but he dotes on his wife a lot." "You mean that I don't dote on you?" Yi Hua asked back. Xianxia put on a straight face. "Have you ever doted on me before?" Yi Hua could be seen leaning towards Xianxia's ear and saying in a low voice, "That night, I doted on you a lot." "Scoundrel!" Xianxia couldn't help but shout out and raised her little fist. Unfortunately, her little fist was grabbed onto by Yi Hua. Everyone present looked towards Yi Hua and Xianxia in unison. "We are discussing about a big matter and yet you two are flirting with each other. This is truly infuriating." "What are you looking at? Have you never seen a husband and wife quarrel before?" Yi Hua said coldly. Everyone was speechless. "You are obviously the one who disturbed us and yet you are the one who is complaining first." "Yi Hua, don't be like this," Xianxia said petulantly. "After this fellow is done acting cool, I have to clean up after him." Xianxia laughed lightly. "Everyone, I'm sorry, my husband Wu." Before Xianxia could finish speaking, Yi Hua covered Xianxia's mouth. "Is there a need for me to explain?" Jiu Yi blushed with shame. "The boss is indeed awesome." "I am just like this," Yi Hua said faintly, then let go of his hand. "Let's see how you are going to smooth things over." Xianxia was very angry. "Can't you speak properly?" It is enough for you to use this kind of tone to talk to me, but to still act like this when going out, you are going to make enemies. Everyone was still unclear of Yi Hua's background, thus they decided to bide their time. After all, even Zhou Yi had to call him boss. Everyone, I am late. A man who was wearing a green gown could be seen walking over slowly, and behind him was a young man who was also wearing a green gown and carrying a long sword on his back. If Qin Yutong was here, she would definitely recognize this green gown man. He was that Dao defender who beat the dog until it vomited blood. Deacon Jian, you are finally here. Everyone hurriedly stood up and greeted. This Deacon Jian is incredible. I heard that he is the deacon of a certain sect in the cultivation world, and also the contact person of Longan City. Deacon Jian, why were you tied up in the park this morning? Jia Gao really touched on the sore spot. Jian Yuan's face sunk, then he laughed and said, something went wrong when I was training yesterday, causing my power to be greatly damaged, and I also met with a ferocious beast. You are the dog abuser who was tied up on the tree this morning? Xianxia asked curiously, but after asking she immediately regretted it. This is very rude. The air instantly froze, Jian Yuan's face turned white and red, and even the small cultivator who was following behind him felt embarrassed. Xianxia, how can you speak like that? He is a cultivator. Yi Hua said calmly. Xianxia was shocked. Ah, he is even a cultivator. Yi Hua laughed. Jian Yuan was about to bleed internally. Everyone was already scared out of their wits. Zhu Yi was convinced this husband and wife are really good at slandering people. Chapter 86. The atmosphere at the scene was already awkward to the extreme. Xianxia wished that she could bite Yi Hua to death. The words that I used just now had the intention of belittling him. I really didn't know that he was a cultivator. Xianxia could be heard saying apologetically, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to slander you. Jian Yuan, everyone. Xianxia opened her beautiful eyes wide, feeling that she had said the wrong thing again. Really, being pregnant makes one foolish for 3 years. No. I must have been infected by Yi Hua. He is going to take the blame for me. How could Jian Yuan be calculative with an ordinary person? There were rules in the cultivation world. One cannot harm an ordinary person, if not, one would definitely be punished. Young lady, it's fine. Jian Yuan didn't know how he was feeling right now. It might be the same as yesterday night, that kind of sullen, that kind of powerlessness. Yi Hua reminded, she is not a young lady anymore. Xianxia rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. Is this fellow really going to anger me to death before he stops? Jian Yuan laughed dryly, then said to everyone, everyone, please calm down. I have already reported the matter that happened at noon to the sect. I believe that everyone will be given a satisfactory answer. After all, our south is not that easy to bully. Deacon Jian Yuan is indeed wise. I admire you. Li Qinyi cupped his hands and said with a smile. Jia Gao Ao said heroically, Deacon Jian Yuan, let's not talk about anything else. I will donate 10 million to add food for your esteemed sect. Me too. Yusi shouted out too. Me too. Shin Tao took a look at Xianxia and shouted out too. Jian Yuan, thanks everyone here. Forget about the money. I have a presumptuous request. Jian Yuan smiled with his hands behind his back. He had the demeanor of an expert, and his temperament became faintly discernible, not at all like a person who was being hung up. Han Wei said, Jian Yuan is too polite. If there is anything you need, just say it. As long as it is within my capabilities, I will definitely do my best. Actually, it's nothing much. I heard that everyone bought a mountain together and is preparing to develop it. My sect is also interested. The money will naturally be given to everyone, and also my sect's miraculous medicine. Hearing that, everyone's expression immediately stiffened for a moment, but they who were cunning also instantly came back to their senses. Yi Hua could be considered to know what Jian Yuan was planning. From the looks of it, the reason why these few people dared to be so arrogant was all because of that mountain, and this Jian Yuan was planning to get a share of the loot. Lord Zhu was also a little puzzled. Recently they had indeed teamed up to develop a mountain. More accurately, it was a few mountain peaks. At that time he didn't have high hopes for it because it was too remote. Now that Jian Yuan mentioned it, he immediately knew what they were thinking. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. They had probably obtained some treasures, or they wanted to create a diversion and create chaos first. Only then would they be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits of others. Just that, how did Jian Yuan know about it? Also, what kind of treasure was inside that mountain? Thinking back to why Xiao Yi wanted to invest in Long and City, could it be that it was also because of this mountain? Instantly Lord Jiu's curiosity was piqued. Xianxia stealthily sized up the two cultivators. In the past I have only seen cultivators in movies or novels, but now that I am standing in front of real cultivators, why do I feel that they are so unreal? Even my view of the world has changed. Are they able to step on the small swords on their back and fly? That was way too powerful. What are you thinking about? Yihua asked. Are they really cultivators? Xianxia was still unable to believe the fact before her eyes. Yihua said faintly, actually I am also a cultivator. Xianxia immediately rolled her eyes. Xianxia, your ability to roll your eyes has improved a bit. Yihua, your ability to brag is getting better and better. Yihua laughed lightly. What if I am a cultivator? You are? Xianxia, write my name backwards. There is no need for that as long as you promise to listen to me obediently. You cannot go west when I say east. Yihua revealed out a mysterious smile, causing Xianxia to become flustered. Xianxia's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. What kind of tricks is this fellow trying to play again? Alright. If you are not a cultivator then you have to listen to me and in the future you have to peel crayfish for me. Alright. Yihua agreed very straightforwardly. This woman actually dares to make such a bet with me. She is truly silly to the point of being adorable. Yihua could be seen taking out his phone and turning on the recording. In view of the fact that sometimes you always run your mouth off, I have to record it. You are the one who runs your mouth off. Xianxia couldn't help but raise her voice, causing everyone that was sitting at the table to have a headache. Jian Yun laughed lightly. Madam, can you lower your voice a bit? We are currently discussing some matters. I'm sorry. Xianxia hurriedly nodded her head and apologized. Yihua said faintly, you all be quiet, don't create trouble for me. It wasn't easy for Yihua to trick Xianxia, so he mustn't let her down. After adjusting the recording, Yihua said, speak. Towards Yihua's childlike actions, Xianxia was helpless and said, if Yihua is really a cultivator, I, Xianxia, promise to be obedient in the future. Yihua will be my sky, alright? Yihua was very satisfied and kept his phone. You are a cultivator as well? Jian Yun asked curiously. I am unable to see through this man's cultivation. Yihua nodded his head. Loose cultivator? Yihua said, self-cultivation. That's right, Yihua is self-cultivating. Could it be that an undead wants to enter the human world to learn? You are thinking too much. Even the other races look down on the undead, they are just like street rats. Your distinguished self said that you are a cultivator. How about you give me a few moves? The young man that was with Jian Yun said. He had long disliked Yihua. Forget that Yihua is handsome, even his wife is so beautiful. Yihua suddenly said coldly, since you all were rude to my wife, I shall properly teach you all a lesson. Yihua, stop messing around. Xianxia shook Yihua's arm. It is one thing for you to act cool in front of your wife, after all we are all family, but now, you even went to act cool in front of others. Yihua patted onto the back of Xianxia's hand. Xianxia, remember what you said just now. Suddenly Yihua stretched out his index finger and a purple flame appeared out of nowhere. That bewitching color made people unable to take their eyes off of the purple flame. When that purple flame shone onto Yihua's face, it made people exclaim in admiration. Yihua flicked out his finger and the purple flame landed on the ground. The flame did not extinguish, nor did it melt the ground as if it was just an illusion. Xianxia, who was at the side, was already stunned. Yihua can't be playing magic, right? But this is too strange, right? An even stranger thing could be seen happening. That purple flame actually slowly twisted and formed into a head and 4 limbs. Just that, why is there a bottle gourd on the head? That's right, this is the bottle gourd brother that Yihua transformed into, the embodiment of justice, the spokesperson that fights against the strong and helps the weak. The purple bottle gourd brother seemed to have a life of its own as it looked left and right, sizing up everything just like a super cute little pet. However, the size of the purple bottle gourd brother was even smaller than a rabbit by half. Xianxia. Yihua looked towards Xianxia, seemingly asking her if she admitted defeat. Xianxia looked at Yihua dumbfoundedly. Even if you beat her to death, she wouldn't believe that my man is actually a cultivator. How is this possible? Thinking back to the things that happened these few days, so he wasn't acting cool and what he said was all true. Chapter 87. Xianxia's brain was unable to function normally and was currently in a frozen state. Not to mention Xianxia, everyone including Jiu Yi was stupefied. Even Jian Yuan was stupefied. To casually create a living spirit, how is this possible? The face of the young man at the back was filled with disbelief. How can he be a cultivator? This is definitely fake. Evil arts of the pugilistic world, watch my sword. The young man immediately pulled out his sword and stabbed towards the Calabash brother. I want to expose his lies and let everyone here know that he is a gigolo. I also want that beauty to know that he is a swindler. The purple Calabash brother looked at the incoming sword curiously and did not move at all. However, the sword that was glowing with white light easily pierced through the body of the Calabash brother. Everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. A complacent look appeared in the young man's eyes. He even looked towards Yihua, seemingly saying that this little thing is not much, I killed him easily. Yihua did not say anything and poked Qingya's forehead. Stupid? Qingya came back to her senses and said, you are the stupid one. How do you want to deal with them, you decide. Yihua said indifferently. In any case, I didn't do it myself, so I didn't break the rules. Qingya punched Yihua. What do you mean deal with them? Your Calabash brother was pierced through the heart. Pierced through the heart. Yihua smiled and did not say anything. The purple Calabash brother touched the sword and seemed to be very curious. However, just this small action of his made everyone gasp in shock. He didn't die. The young man turned pale with fright and tried to pull the sword out with his right hand, but the Calabash brother grabbed onto the sword and seemed to be very unhappy. This is my toy. Back off. Jian Yuan shouted lightly. I can't pull it out. The young man was very helpless. Just what the hell is this Calabash brother? Suddenly, a purple light emitted out from the hand of the Calabash brother, and the sword was instantly wrapped up. The young man revealed a look of shock and immediately let go of the sword. The Calabash brother swung his hand, and the purple sword floated in the air, looking very dazzling. Qingya, do you want them to live or die? Yihua asked Qingya, who was absent-minded. Qingya looked at Yihua blankly. She was getting more and more confused about Yihua. Just what kind of person is he? He knocked on the silly woman's head and said, you look pretty cute in this adorable way. Why did you knock my head? Qingya rubbed onto her head petulantly. You haven't answered me yet. Answer what? They have offended you. It's not like other people did it on purpose, forget about it, forget about it. Qingya said in a low voice. In the end, Qingya was still just a little woman. After hearing what Qingya said, Yihua let out a sigh. Qingya, you should know that offending you is equivalent to offending me. Have you ever thought about it? After hearing that, Qingya remained silent. I'll let it go this time, but don't make the same mistake next time. As the wife of a supreme overlord, not only did she have to consider herself, she also had to consider her husband's face. Qingya bit her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. However, everyone listened to the conversation between the couple. They were simply showing off to the extreme. What did they mean by offensive? Did they think they were emperors? However, they only dared to think about it and didn't dare to say it out. They were afraid that the purple sword in the sky would give them a chill. At noon, the juniors were all annihilated. Could it be that the seniors are going to die together with them at night? Zhu Yi finally understood the advice that his big brother gave him before he died. This boss is truly a cultivator and his strength is even stronger than Jian Yuan, truly formidable. The purple Calabash brother lightly leaped onto the purple sword that was floating in the sky, then began flying around. That small posture of his was like he was skiing, showing that he was having a lot of fun. Mr. has great strength. Jian Yuan cupped his hands and said. Yihua said, didn't you say that you wanted to spar with me? Jian Yuan's heart sunk. This Calabash brother looks very childish, but from the looks of it his strength has definitely reached a terrifying level. Spar with me is completely seeking death. Mr.'s strength is extraordinary, we are not Mr.'s opponent. We have offended you just now, I hope that Mr. will not blame us. Jian Yuan let out a sigh of relief. A good man should know when to yield and when to advance and when to retreat. What's the use of acting cool for a moment? Yihua felt that it was alright to speak like this. According to his temperament in the past, he would definitely ignore his begging for mercy, but thinking from the perspective of a human, he would definitely want to obtain a greater benefit. Since you are sincerely lowering your head and begging for mercy, then I will spare your life. Yihua said indifferently. Jian Yuan looked as if he had eaten a fly. How am I begging for mercy? I am just praising you. Alright, that's right, this can only be counted as a disguised form of begging for mercy. But aren't you not giving me any face at all? Right now, everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Even Genuine Deacon has to lower his head and admit his mistake. Then what do we count as? That purple sword that was floating in the sky was like a death sentence. Whoever dares to speak carelessly would have their heart pierced through. Genuine Deacon, since the boss has already spared your life, you should smile, don't frown. Jiu Yi suddenly stood up and said with a smile, having the intention of hugging onto Yi Hua's thigh. Why the F*** am I supposed to smile? Will I beg for mercy? I will never beg for mercy in my entire life. This is the last time I will beg for mercy. Next time definitely won't. No. There won't be a next time. Why did you all butt in? Yi Hua asked curiously. Genuine went into a daze, then played dumb and said, Mister, what do you mean? Bayu. The purple sword had already appeared in between Genuine Deacon's eyebrows. Calabash Brother was lying on the body of the sword, posing like a drunk concubine. If not for the fact that the situation wasn't right, Qingya would definitely laugh out. Genuine didn't know why, but his body was already out of control. This sword might was too huge, but it was only released by Calabash Brother, who was lying on the body of the sword. And from start to finish, that man had only thrown out a purple flame. Think about what I mean. Yi Hua said unhurriedly while playing with Qingya's finger. It was rather tender and smooth. Mister, this is... I don't care what reason you have, I will ask and you will answer. Furthermore, there are a lot of people who are smarter than you here. Yi Hua said coldly. If not for Qingya being soft-hearted, she would have already poked his forehead. In any case, it wasn't me who did it, it doesn't count. Genuine was sweating profusely. Why am I so unlucky these 2 days? Sailor Moon and Calabash Brother, I actually got bullied by a character from an anime. Can I still have fun? Why is there such a strong person in this Longan city? After I return this time, I definitely have to report to the sect. I will not stay in Longan city even if I am beaten to death. Mister, there is a dragon vein under the mountain that they bought. Dragon vein. Yi Hua went into a slight daze, and here I thought that it was something that made them fight over it. To make such a big fuss over a mere dragon vein. Under the dragon vein there are a lot of treasures, pills, orbs, techniques and so on. Genuine had the heart to cry and he took out everything. Yi Hua waved his hand and Calabash Brother instantly dissipated. The purple sword also returned back to its original form and fell onto the ground. And those wealthy merchants' eyes were opened wide. There are orbs and techniques, no wonder our Yunfeng sect wants to butt in. Chapter 88. There was no longer any meaning in staying here any longer. Pulling Qingya, who was absent-minded, Yi Hua said, Xiao Jiu, call a car over. Lord Jiu immediately stood up. I'll make the arrangements now. Boss, please wait for a while. The driver will be here soon. Yi Hua nodded his head. This Wei Chong and Lai Gu's temperament is very weird. As long as someone is disrespectful to me, I will kill them without saying a word. Leaving this Xiao Jiu with me can also be used to deal with some trivial matters. If Jiu Yi were to know of Yi Hua's thoughts, he would definitely be in a dilemma. On one hand, he wants to hug Yi Hua's thigh, and on the other hand, he also wants to hug Yi Hua's thigh to save face. Very quickly, Jiu Ye's Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived, and the driver respectfully opened the door of the car. Yi Hua pulled Qingya, who was absent-minded, and walked out of the side hall. The things that they are talking about are too childish. I am not interested in knowing about it, and I don't want to know about it either. Right now, I am only curious about the thoughts of Qingya, this fool. After knowing my strength, you are already stupefied. Let's see if you are still going to be naughty in the future. Qingya was indeed stupefied. Never in a million years would I have thought that the man that I randomly found would be a cultivator. I really don't know if this is good luck or bad luck. Could it be that all cultivators have such a bad temper? Asking his woman to peel crayfish and buy pancakes at every turn? On the way back, the two of them didn't converse with each other at all. Yi Hua was a little impatient. Could it be that this stupid woman was scared silly? Stop at the side. Yi Hua said coldly. The driver didn't dare to say anything else. He had to pull over even if he had to pay a fine. After pulling Qingya, who was still in a daze, Qingya walked to the riverside and gazed into the distance. There were quite a number of couples strolling along the riverside, and there were also many elderly people dancing in the square. The main reason was that the riverside was cool. From time to time, a cool breeze would blow, making one feel relaxed and happy. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then leaned against the guardrail. Meanwhile, Xianxia was standing at the side, and the breeze was blowing her beautiful hair, not knowing what she was thinking about. After finishing smoking a cigarette, Yihua was a bit irritated. Could it be that I have really become stupid? Speak. Yihua said gravely. Xianxia took a deep breath, then asked, Yihua, do you know grafting? What do you mean? Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. If I learn it, I can absorb your inner force. Yihua, what's the point of learning that kind of inferior cultivation technique? Yihua said in disdain. This woman's hair is too long, but her experience is too short. Do you know 3 flower at one's prominence? Yihua's frown deepened. No, then do you know the Nine Sutra? Yihua had the thought of smacking Xianxia's butt. Not yet. Where's the Dark North divine art? You can't even do that. Buddha's palm headquarters, right? Sigh. Yihua, could it be that you have cultivated the sunflower manual? Yihua couldn't bear it anymore and hugged Xianxia into his embrace. Don't you know whether or not I have practiced the sunflower treasured book? Xianxia let out a breath. Just now, I just wanted to tease Yihua a bit, and upon discovering that he is still the same as before, I can finally be at ease. Just that, with the additional identity of a cultivator, I don't know if I will be able to gain face for myself if I were to tell others about it. For example, other people say, my husband is worth tens of billions. Where does your husband come from? Xianxia placed her hands on her waist and shouted out proudly, your husband is nothing, my husband is someone from the cultivation world. If Yihua knew what Xianxia was thinking right now, he would definitely give Xianxia a lecture. To actually compare yourself with that kind of low-rank job. Are you really someone from the cultivation world? Xianxia asked. Yihua didn't know how to reply. What the hell is the cultivation world? If I were to deny right now, would she go back on her words? After all, what I am betting on is whether I am a cultivator or not. However, admitting that I am a cultivator, I feel really low. However, for the sake of teaching Xianxia a lesson, I might as well be a little low. Seems like for this woman my bottom line is getting lower and lower. Yes. Yihua said indifferently. Then, are you very powerful, the kind that can blow up a car with a punch and can even fly into the sky? Yes. Then can I fly on a sword? Can I fly into space? But there is no oxygen. Yihua, do you not want to breathe anymore? A few black lines appeared on Yihua's forehead. No wonder you were like that night. So you are a cultivator, you must have taken your medicine. Yihua was really angered and said coldly, you can come and give it a try tonight. I won't fall for it. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator I have to hug onto your thigh and listen to your words. Xianxia pushed Yihua away, stood in front of Yihua, raised her chin and said confidently. Yihua said gravely, did you forget about your vow? What vow? I don't know what you are talking about. I knew that you would be like this. Yihua took out his phone and played Xianxia's recording. If Yihua is really a cultivator, Xianxia, promise that I will be obedient in the future. Yihua will be my sky, alright? After listening to her vow, Xianxia immediately understood. I was tricked by Yihua again. I won't accept this, you lied to me. Xianxia raised up her small fist again, but unfortunately her wrist was grabbed onto by Yihua. Yihua knew that Xianxia would go back on her words and said coldly, do you think that your small fist will be able to harm me? Xianxia's expression immediately sunk as she said, I know that you are a cultivator now and you are very powerful. I am just an ordinary woman and I am completely not your opponent. If you want to hit me, then go ahead and hit me. In any case, there is no one in this world who would feel sorry for me. After hearing what Xianxia said, Yihua went into a daze. Why do I feel that I am the one in the wrong? If I wanted to hit you, I would have long slapped you into the sky. Look, your expression is that of anger. Go ahead and hit me. In any case, I don't have the strength to fight back. Xianxia said faintly. Her resentment soared to the sky, and the people who were passing by were able to sense that heavy resentment. Even if they were separated by a screen, they would still be able to smell it. Yihua resisted the urge to smack Xianxia's butt. Do you really think that I don't dare to hit you? You are a cultivator, you are the biggest, whatever you say goes. Xianxia spread out her hands helplessly. Don't compare me with cultivators. Yihua shouted out lightly. Cultivators are nothing, just a fart is enough to crush us to death. Sigh, my husband is using his identity to oppress me. Sigh. Yihua suddenly felt that if he were to tell her a little bit of things, she would be able to soar into the sky. If I had known that this would happen, I would have kept it a secret. To actually say that I am using my identity to oppress me, you are clearly the one who lost the bet. Seeing that Yi Hua was not speaking, Xianxia rubbed her ankle and said lightly, I can't walk anymore. Take a taxi by yourself. Yi Hua said petulantly, then lit up another stick of cigarette. Xianxia snorted coldly, then made a flower-pinching finger gesture. I don't know who was the one who said that as long as my ankle hurts, you will have to carry me on your back. And you are even a cultivator, your mouth sure is full of nonsense. Cough, cough, cough. This was the first time that Yi Hua choked on his own cigarette. Originally, I wanted to use the recording to educate Xianxia. But in the end, I didn't expect that my identity would instead become a handle that Xianxia could use against me. She is even a cultivator. If I were to tell her my real identity, things would get out of hand. Forget it, I will just slowly walk back. The identity of a cultivator is noble. How can I carry my wife on my back? If this matter were to be spread out, I would lose so much face. Xianxia suddenly added a sentence. Chapter 89. Come up. After a while, Yi Hua suppressed the impulse in his heart and shouted out coldly. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Xianxia's mouth, then she turned her head and said, Really? You won't throw me into the river, right? Come up. I don't want to say it a second time. Yi Hua really wanted to turn back time. This woman is truly much smarter than what I imagined her to be. Xianxia immediately arrived behind Yi Hua and patted on Yi Hua's back. Squat down a bit. As the almighty supreme overlord, Yi Hua felt tired and helpless as he slowly bowed his body. This is the first woman that dares to be so arrogant towards me. Xianxia suddenly jumped up and wrapped her spotlessly white arms around Yi Hua's neck. Meanwhile, Yi Hua began to walk forward and the scene was rather comical. Because Yi Hua didn't hold on to Xianxia's legs right now, it was as if Yi Hua was carrying a corpse. Xianxia, who was on Yi Hua's back, immediately shouted out, Yi Hua, if you don't want to carry me, just say it. What are you trying to do this time? This cannot be blamed on Yi Hua. After all, he had never turned his back on anyone before. Don't you know how to hold my legs? Do you want to drag me home? Yi Hua took a deep breath. You are the first woman who dares to shout at me. What's wrong? Did I hurt the dignity of the cultivators? Don't mention cultivators to me. Right now, Yi Hua hated cultivators to the core and he really wanted to get rid of all of the cultivators. It was precisely because of the cultivators that he was teased by this woman. Xianxia pouted and did not provoke Yi Hua anymore, because she discovered that Yi Hua was currently walking towards the riverside. Unknowingly, Xianxia walked to the street, and Xianxia became the object of envy of all women. Look at the others. They all know how to carry their girlfriends. Why don't you carry me? Then why don't you look at other people's girlfriends' bodies? As long as I carry you, you have to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You're so annoying. You want to take advantage of me again. The skinny man was already in despair. Was I talking about taking advantage of her? I'm talking about how fat you are. Oh my God, this is so hopeless. Leaning on that broad and sturdy back, Xianxia felt extremely safe. Towards the envious gazes that other people were casting at her, she also happily accepted them. If you guys have the ability, then go and find a cultivator husband to carry as well. Yahua. Xianxia called out softly. Yi Hua lightly nodded. In actuality, he was silently praying in his heart that Lai Gu and Wei Chong must not see this. Will you really hit me? Yi Hua stopped his footsteps and immediately slapped onto Xianxia's perky butt. Do you think that I dare or not? Xianxia was stupefied. This fellow actually dared to spank my butt in front of so many people, shameless. Without waiting for Xianxia to start scolding, Yi Hua took the initiative and said, I have a voice recording as evidence. You better be more obedient in the future, if not I will spank your butt until it is swollen. Xianxia pouted her small mouth. Humph, you are a cultivator, so of course you can only rely on your martial strength. Yi Hua remained silent. I swear. Tonight I am going to properly teach Xianxia a lesson and let her know the consequences of going back on her words. Not long after, Yi Hua arrived at Leisure Bar while carrying Xianxia on his back. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Yi Hua walked upstairs. Wei Chong swore that he would definitely tell this scene to Lai Gu. Bang! The bedroom door was heavily closed by Yi Hua. Qin Yutong naturally heard what happened and immediately ran over to the corner of the bedroom to eavesdrop. Brother-in-law and big sister sure are passionate every single day. Sure enough, in just a few seconds, big sister's panting sound could be heard from the bedroom. Qin Yutong's entire body was in a bad state. Brother-in-law is simply too ferocious. Big sister's panting is not panting anymore, she is almost shouting for help. The two of them are simply too hardcore, so perverted. On the spacious bed, Yihua was currently teaching Xianxia a lesson. Don't think too much, I am just placing Xianxia on my thighs and spanking that sexy little butt of hers. The amount of force that I control is just right, just that. Isn't Xianxia's scream too exaggerated? Yihua, I have seen through you, you only know how to hit your wife. Let me tell you, Yihua, if I am stronger than you, I will use the same posture to spank you. You bastard, are you addicted to spank me? I am a pregnant woman. You can't spank me like this. Suddenly, Yihua recalled that Xianxia was still pregnant with his blood and immediately stopped. Come on. Why did you stop? Cultivator. Xianxia shouted out coldly. Yihua let out a sigh, then helped Xianxia up and said seriously, Xianxia, can you not make me worry a bit less? Xianxia looked at Yihua in disbelief, then directly pushed Yihua onto the bed and said, Who are you saying is not making you worry? How am I not making you worry? You explain clearly to me. Yihua was a bit absent-minded as he stared at the face that was right in front of him and that charming red lips. Suddenly he recalled that night, that soft feeling, and expressed that he still wanted to try. Sure enough, under Xianxia's adorable expression, Yihua kissed onto Xianxia's lips. Yihua thought to himself in his heart, it is still that kind of soft and a bit sweet. Bang! At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open by Qin Yutong. Yihua and Xianxia, who were on the bed, immediately looked at Qin Yutong, who suddenly appeared with cold eyes. I heard that the two of you didn't make a sound, and I thought that the two of you had perished together. I will leave now, the two of you can continue, don't bother about me, bye-bye. Qin Yutong immediately left. The gaze of brother-in-law and big sister is so scary. Yihua pushed Xianxia away and said calmly, I am going to take a bath. In actuality, his heart was not calm at all. Oh. Xianxia, who was angry just a moment ago, also cowered and sat cross-legged on the bed in a daze. The atmosphere between the two of them immediately became awkward. Even after Yihua came out from the bath, Xianxia did not say anything and just rushed into the bath. After that, the two of them just lay on the bed, one on the other side, and neither of them spoke first. Is your phone turned off? Yihua asked lightly. He was unable to hold it in anymore. Xianxia's tone was also not that cold. It is turned off. Just that, the two of them spoke one after another, and the atmosphere instantly quietened down. Roughly half an hour later, Xianxia finally could not hold it in anymore and asked lightly, Are you asleep? If you want to come over, then come over. Yihua said faintly. This woman really wants to save face. Xianxia snorted and lightly moved her body, then closed her eyes and hugged onto Yihua, as if by doing this she would not find out. She was purely deceiving herself. Just that, Yihua's heartbeat is a bit fast today. Why is my heartbeat also following the rhythm? This fellow is indeed messing around with the rhythm. Yihua, you are a cultivator and I am just an ordinary person, will you? Before Xianxia finished speaking, Yihua interrupted and said solemnly, I won't. This was the tacit understanding that a husband and wife should have. There were some words that the other party did not need to finish speaking and the other party would know. Yihua was just like this. Xianxia's character was more or less clear. To put it simply, she was a hedgehog that did not have any sense of security. Before tonight, Xianxia felt that the gap between her and Yihua was not that big. In any case, Yihua was also the boss of a bar and both of them were bosses. However, now it had changed. Yihua was not only a boss, he was also a cultivator, and in the novels he was able to ascend to immortality. The huge sense of loss made Xianxia very melancholy, feeling that Yihua was suddenly very far away from her. Thus she made Yihua look as angry as usual, and the facts proved that Yihua was still the same. However, she kept feeling that she would lose Yihua, perhaps on the day when the child was born. After all, the promise that she made on that day was still lingering in her mind. Chapter 90. Carrying along this uneasy feeling, Xianxia gradually fell asleep. Hugging onto Yi Hua while sleeping is very comfortable. If I suddenly lose him one day, I will probably suffer from insomnia. Right now, Yi Hua was also thinking blindly, but he wasn't as emotional as Xianxia. Instead, he was thinking about how to get back my face. Could it be that I have to show off my manliness in front of her? I wonder if killing millions of people would be enough. If that's the case, she would willingly submit to me. This doesn't seem right. Just what is wrong? This is so vexing. Just like that, the two gradually fell asleep with their own feelings, until the sound of knocking on the door rang out in the morning, waking Yi Hua and Xianxia up. Brother-in-law, big sister, Qin Yutong stood outside the door and shouted. From her tone, one could tell that she was asking for someone. Yi Hua patted onto Xianxia's shoulder. Go and open the door. Xianxia grabbed onto her hair. What are you doing so early in the morning? What's the matter? Xianxia opened the door and asked angrily. Qin Yutong could be seen to have already changed her clothes. Wearing a big round hat and sunglasses, she should be considered to be fully armed. Big sister, didn't you tell me to go to Gaohai City today? It's so dangerous for me to go to the airport alone. Aren't you and brother-in-law going to send me off? Qin Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes, pulled onto Xianxia's arm and said coquettishly. Xianxia wrinkled her brows. You are already an adult. Do you still need to send me off? Can't you just drive directly to the airport? Big sister, you don't even care about your little sister. My heart hurts. Yi Hua was no longer sleepy. He got off the bed and said, let's just go and send her off and eat breakfast on the way. The corner of Qin Yutong's mouth twitched. I feel like it's all thanks to breakfast. Since the man has already spoken, what else can Xianxia say? She went to wash up. 15 minutes later, the two were ready. Xianxia, on the other hand, was very happy right now because there was no need for her to put on makeup. Her face was simply too stunning. Thinking back to the meat on that day, Xianxia was very curious. Could it really be dragon meat? Yutong, drive. Xianxia threw the car key to her little sister. Qin Yutong knew that it would be like this. The two of them were masters, especially brother-in-law. That expression of his was just like an emperor coming out of the palace. Sitting on the Audi A8, Qin Yutong successfully obtained the identity of the driver, while Qin Yutong and Xianxia sat at the back. Qin Yutong, who was driving the car, silently thought to herself. Last night they were clearly quarreling so much, and in the end, when I knocked open the door to take a look, I saw that they were actually lying on the bed and kissing. Yutong, for the next few days properly cooperate with us, all right? Don't cause any trouble again. Xianxia reminded. Xianxia understood her younger sister's personality very well. Yutong was puzzled. Qin said, Yutong, I said. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 days. You have to get it done. All right, in any case, you all just want to chase me away. When is my little nephew coming out? By then we would have already run away from home. Yutong. Xianxia. Xianxia was filled with melancholy. It was as if she had already seen her child running away from home along with her younger sister. He said, Qing. By day I. Quiet down, what's there to quarrel about? Yi Hua said gravely. Quarreling every day, this is giving me a headache. The two goddess-like women pouted and quietened down. Half an hour later, Qin Yutong finally arrived at the airport. Aren't you two coming down to send me off? Yi Hua and Xianxia directly ignored her, and Xianxia even went up to the car and stepped on the accelerator, leaving behind Qin Yutong, who had an adorable look on her face. These two are simply angering me to death. They don't have a bit of sympathy. Let me tell you, I am going to run away from home for half a month. Seems to be a bit long. 1 week then. Let's see if you two are anxious or not. Qin Yutong, who was throwing a small tantrum, walked into the airport and immediately attracted attention. Although she was fully armed, her temperament could not be changed. Don't look at how Qin Yutong was carefree in front of Yi Hua and Xianxia. When she met outsiders, she would change. After all, Yi Hua and Xianxia were her relatives. In the car, Yi Hua said faintly, let's go out for a walk today. Cultivator, do you want to go on a date with me? Xianxia teased, the corner of her mouth unconsciously raised up. Can you remove the word cultivator from your mouth? Can't you speak properly? Yi Hua felt that telling her that he was a mistake. If he were to directly tell her that he was a supreme overlord, things would get out of hand. Xianxia laughed tenderly. All right, I will remove it from your mouth, all right? After remaining silent for a while, Yi Hua asked, what do you think of my personality? Qingya was very puzzled. This fellow is not normal today. Do you still have a personality? Those who don't know would think that you are an emperor. Your face is cold every day and you even have problems with the most basic communication. Yihua, are you sick? Autism. You are also a cultivator. You have to hide your identity. Qingya. Yihua shouted out gravely. This woman can't even leave the word cultivator out of her mouth right now. To even say that I am sick, her guts are really getting bigger and bigger. Look, after saying a few sentences of yours, you are jumping up again. As a human, you have to learn to be calm. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator that you are superior to others. You have to learn to integrate with others. Cultivator again. Cultivator again. Yihua really regretted admitting that he was a cultivator right now. After taking in a few deep breaths, Yihua calmly asked, "Is there any way to solve it? Do I really have to solve it?" Qingya found it hard to believe. Yihua couldn't be having a fever today, right? I am thinking too much. Yihua just felt that learning human nature was not something that one could learn on the surface. One had to put it into practice. However, talking to these low-grade creatures, I feel very uncomfortable. I wonder how Wei Chong did it. Yihua lightly grunted, feeling that he had lost a lot of face. I will bring you to a place. I guarantee that you will be able to get rid of those bad habits of yours. Qingya felt that today was really wonderful. Yihua is finally obedient. Bad habits. Yihua said gravely. This is the dignity of a supreme overlord. But when it comes to her mouth, it became a bad habit. Could it be that it is a good habit? Qingya snorted. Half an hour later, Qingya brought Yihua to a place that was overcrowded with people. The pedestrian street of Long'an City. Last time I even came here to eat skewers. Why did you bring me here? Yihua asked faintly. Don't think too much, come with me. Qingya held onto Yihua's big hand and walked into Audie's specialty store. Inside the specialty store there were almost all female salespeople, and when they saw such a handsome guy they all rushed over. When they saw the woman beside Yihua, they immediately stopped their footsteps. The woman was so beautiful that it made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Qingya sized up the sportswear, then looked at the suit that Yihua was wearing. Don't dress so solemnly all day when it is time to relax. Yihua remained silent. What are you in a daze for? Go and buy it. Qingya pushed Yihua, letting Yihua take the initiative to ask. Chapter 91. Yihua's breathing became a bit hurried. Are these small fries even qualified to talk to me? However, I have to assimilate into the human race. Assimilate. If I am unable to control my emotions later on, Qingya will have to take the blame. Come over. Yihua shouted out gravely. The big sister was given a fright as she walked towards Yihua while trembling with fear, and her face was a bit pale. Qingya held onto her forehead. Can you be a bit more gentle? What are you being so fierce for a fight? Shut up. Yihua said petulantly. Qingya snorted coldly, then walked to the side and ignored Yihua. Yihua rubbed his temples. Sooner or later I will explode from anger because of Qingya. Qingya, come over. Qingya, who was pretending to choose clothes, snorted, but she still walked over. I'm sorry, my husband is sick. He has a language barrier. Just a moment ago you even roared at me. See if I don't teach you a lesson. Don't think that you can bully me just because you are a cultivator. Oh, so it's like that. The big sister was relieved. She was scared to death. Right now, Yihua's mood was just like Jian Yun's mood yesterday, constipated. Beauty, does this set of clothes come with a couple's outfit? Qingya asked curiously. The waiter smiled and said, Miss, of course. Qingya poked the angry Yihua. What are you doing? Bargaining. Qingya shook her head. This husband of mine is just like a child, he doesn't know anything. Yihua's brows wrinkled deeply. Have I ever seen a supreme overlord haggling over the price when buying something? This wasn't bargaining, this was lowering the price. If word of this got out, where would his face go? We need to interact more with each other. Qingya said in a low voice. Yihua took a deep breath, then asked, How much? The lady was still very shy. She looked at the price and said, 489 yuan. Hearing that humans like to bargain with the lowest price, Yihua had an answer in his heart and said gravely, Too expensive, 1 RMB. The big sister was instantly stupefied, and even Qingya was stupefied. This fellow isn't messing with me, right? However, looking at that incomparably serious face of his, he doesn't seem to be joking with me. Sir, although you are handsome, you can't bargain like this. The young lady wanted to cry. Even a handsome guy couldn't bully people like this. Xianxia was hating iron for not becoming steel. How can it be returned like this? Let me do it, you learn more from me. Xianxia let out a sigh. To think that I, the madam, would still have to do it. Seems like Yi Hua has cultivated himself to the point that he became stupid. Xianxia picked up her clothes and touched it, then frowned and said faintly, for 89 is too expensive, how about this for 188? What an auspicious number. This time it was Yi Hua's turn to be a little stupefied. This is called bargaining? It seemed that this woman was even more ignorant than he was. He was still pretending to know. Even the waiter was laughing. The young lady felt that they were very strange. One was silly while the other was cute. They were a perfect match. Of course. Xianxia raised her chin proudly and said towards Yi Hua, "Did you see that? This is called bargaining. It is truly a miracle that your company didn't go bankrupt." Yi Hua shook his head helplessly. "What do you know? You can't mix the two together, okay? Hurry up and bargain like me." "I can't do it." As expected, Yi Hua refused. "How can you be like this? Didn't you say you wanted to have a good conversation?" Yi Hua said faintly, "I have already had enough exchanges with you." Xianxia went into a daze, then pulled onto Yi Hua's sleeves. "Where did you learn those sweet words from? They are quite alluring." Yi Hua took a look. "Communicating with you is already troublesome enough, I don't want to add more troubles." Xianxia knew that it would be like this. This fellow just doesn't know how to say some sweet words. "Quickly go and change your clothes, it is so dark all day, can't you be a bit more sunny?" Xianxia shoved the clothes into Yi Hua's hands. "If I didn't appear, you can just be a single dog for your entire life who would be able to endure your temper." Yi Hua did not refuse and walked into the changing room with the clothes. Xianxia also chose a set of clothes and walked into the changing room to change. When the two walked out of the changing room, no matter if it was the staff of the store or the people who came to buy clothes, all of them were shocked. Yi Hua, who had changed into the sportswear, indeed looked a lot more sunny, less calm and more gentleness. Xianxia was the same too, it was as if she had become the big sister next door. Simply too childish. This was the portrayal of Yi Hua's inner heart. Tisk tise tise, look how handsome he is. The only thing that Xianxia felt fortunate about was that her husband was still pleasing to the eye, to the point that she wouldn't get tired of looking at him. It could be said to be a great fortune within misfortune. Yi Hua was very unnatural as he urged, "Quickly go. Go and pay the bill, I didn't bring any money with me." "Why didn't you even bring any money?" Yi Hua was speechless, she definitely did it on purpose. "You are my husband, when we are outside I definitely need you to count the money. Of course, you are a cultivator, you can completely force me to do things." Yi Hua simply didn't have the slightest bit of temper. "The biggest mistake in this lifetime was yesterday night. I originally wanted to use my identity to shock Xianxia, but in the end it had the opposite effect." Seeing that Yi Hua obediently went to count the money, Xianxia was still very happy. She went up and held on to the man who was throwing a small tantrum. Men, after all, have to be coaxed, if not why would they be obedient? Although I am an ordinary person and my husband is a cultivator, but so what? Yi Hua is still obedient. "I will take care of you when we return home tonight," Yi Hua said gravely. "If I don't beat you up for a day, you will start to climb up the beam and tear down the tiles." Xianxia could be seen touching her abdomen. "Baby, daddy is going to hit mommy, what do you think I should do?" My God, Yi Hua is not only regretting yesterday night, he is also regretting that night. This woman is simply like a curse to me. The two returned to the pedestrian street. Xianxia looked at Yi Hua, who was sullen, and felt that it was very funny. She asked lightly, "Yi Hua, last night you secretly kissed me. Here it comes again. I already have 3 of my weaknesses in her hands, I simply want to die. If you are not happy you can kiss me back." Yi Hua said gravely. "I, the Supreme Overlord, would also have such a day, I really didn't expect that." Xianxia tiptoed and said sweetly, "As long as you admit that you are a swindler, I can let you do whatever you want, just like that night." Immediately, the anger within Yi Hua's body rose rapidly, causing Yi Hua to turn pale with fright. "I am actually being controlled by this woman, how is this possible? The words that I, Yi Hua, have said before are of enormous weight. Alright, let's see how long you can keep your words to yourself for. Qingya's breath was like an orchid, she had Yi Hua firmly in her grasp. Seeing that Yi Hua was angered to the point that he was speechless again, Qingya said sweetly, "How about we go and take a risk?" "What do you mean?" "Let's just sit on a random car and go wherever we go, how about it?" In actuality, Qingya had a small wish, and that was to go on a trip without any purpose. Boring. Let's go. Qingya, when did you learn Yutong's moves? Yi Hua wrinkled his brows. Qingya's expression immediately changed as she shouted out coldly, "Are you going or not?" "Actually, it is also good to learn from Yutong." Chapter 92. After getting on the bus, Qingya quickly fell asleep while leaning on Yi Hua's shoulder. It was only at this time that Yi Hua felt that Qingya was very obedient, and when she woke up she became like a little demon. After half an hour of driving, the two got off the bus and changed into the minibus. Who knows where this minibus is heading to? Teacher, stop for a moment. Looking at the scenery outside, Qingya couldn't help but shout out. After getting off the car, Qingya stretched her body and said comfortably, "The air here is fresh." Yi Hua lit up a cigarette, expressing that he was very bored. A truck carrying pigs passed by, and the truck carried a strange smell. Qingya's comfortable face immediately turned black, and even Yi Hua's face was the same. "This is the good place that you chose," Yi Hua said petulantly. Qingya was a little embarrassed. "How would I know? Can't you treat me a bit more gently? Hold my hand and close your eyes." "What? You want to steal a kiss from me again?" Qingya's heart was beating faster. "Who wants to kiss you? I am just changing places." Yi Hua let out a light sigh. "I really don't know what she is thinking about all day long." "Tisk, let's see what kind of flower you can conjure up." Qingya snorted coldly and pulled onto Yi Hua's hand. 1 seconds later, Yi Hua said, "We're here." Qingya slightly opened her eyes. Just a moment ago, everything in front of her eyes had changed. What she could see was a green lake, and all around her were towering trees. This was the real utopia. "Yi Hua, have we transmigrated?" Yi Hua poked onto Qingya's forehead. "Just what is going on in that little head of yours?" Qingya stuck out her tongue, then ran to the lakeside and opened up her arms. Yi Hua followed behind her unhurriedly with a cigarette in his mouth. With a wave of his hand, 2 chairs and a small table immediately appeared. On the table was a dragon blood wine, as well as the meat of star-cleansing sparrow and golden delicate crane. "Don't just stand there. Come and sit down." When Qingya turned her head around to take a look, she was first startled by the things that suddenly appeared, and soon after she muttered, "Having a cultivator as a husband sure is good, he can even bring so many things with him." Another cultivator. Yi Hua really wants to throw Qingya into the lake to calm down. Lying on the chair, Qingya took a sip of the dragon blood wine and said, "We will be able to save a lot of money on transportation fees in the future." Yi Hua didn't want to talk anymore. "Yi Hua, are you able to transmigrate to another world?" Qingya asked curiously. "It's simple." Upon hearing that it was okay, Qingya became interested. "When are you going to bring him over to play with me?" "Let's talk about it after you give birth." "That's true." Speaking of children, Qingya rubbed onto her flat stomach and asked curiously, "Yi Hua, will our children be like Superman when they are born?" "Qingya, don't compare children with those inferior races," Yi Hua said in displeasure. Qingya muttered, "I'm just asking, why are you getting angry again?" After eating a small mouthful of the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, Qingya seemed to have thought of something, and her mood instantly became gloomy. "Yi Hua. How long can you two live?" Qingya asked gravely. Yi Hua finally knew what Qingya was thinking about. This woman is actually worried about this. Thus I decided to tease her a little. "A very, very long time," Yi Hua said leisurely. "Then when I get old, will you still be so young?" Qingya's eyes turned red. "When I think about how old I am and how Yi Hua is still the same as before, I even have the heart to die. This silly woman, she is eating the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, and she is still worried about her appearance." Yi Hua said faintly, "If nothing unexpected happens, it will be like this." This time Qingya was really sad and tears of helplessness fell out from her eyes. If only Yi Hua was an ordinary person. Yi Hua didn't expect that Qingya's reaction would be so big. He was startled for a moment, then said slowly, "Of course I also have a way." What way? Teach me." Hearing that there was a way, Xianxia was like a person who was drowning, tightly grabbing onto that life-saving straw. For people like us, every part of our body is where the essence lies, so Xianxia went into a daze for a moment, then immediately jumped onto Yihua's body and punched onto his chest. "Yihua, I didn't expect you to be so shameless and perverted." Yihua lightly hooked onto Xianxia's chin and said with a light smile, "Such a beautiful face, how can I bear to let you grow old?" "You are teasing me again, Yihua, I hate you, what a silly woman." Yihua laughed out loud, then hugged onto Xianxia's soft and delicate body. "Hugging onto my body feels very comfortable." Ripples appeared on the surface of the clear lake, and a light breeze blew onto Xianxia's soft and beautiful hair. Yihua caressed onto Xianxia's beautiful hair. "You, if only you didn't talk back to me." Xianxia closed her eyes and said, "You, if only you didn't act cool all the time." Pa Yihua couldn't help but smack onto Xianxia's butt. "The one who acts cool all the time is you, right?" Xianxia opened her beautiful eyes and shouted out, "You only know how to smack my butt. Your butt sure is bouncy, it feels good." "Yihua. Right now, other than acting cool, you have also become a hooligan." Yihua hugged onto Xianxia tightly. "What's wrong with me acting like a hooligan towards my own wife?" Xianxia felt that this couldn't go on, so she said to Yihua, "I want to learn martial arts." "Why do you suddenly want to?" "Because I want to defeat you, and then bully you." Xianxia turned around and rode onto Yihua's body. Her posture was too explosive. Yihua laughed lightly. "Your way of thinking is perfect, but you won't be able to succeed. In this lifetime I am definitely going to bully you." "Humph, if you don't teach me, who would know? Perhaps you know that my talent is extremely good, and you are afraid that I will surpass you." Xianxia expressed that she was not convinced. "Failure isn't scary, what is scary is that you still believe in this sentence." Xianxia pouted. "How do you know that I will fail? From the moment you said that you want to surpass me, you were destined to fail." "Humph, you are just stingy, 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 Yihua." Yihua sighed, then held onto Xianxia's small hand, pointed towards the infinity ring and said, "With this ring, you are already invincible." Xianxia was confused. "Other than looking good, this ring doesn't seem to have any other use." "In the future you will know, my woman, why must you cultivate so bitterly? It is just like playing a game, we are all pay-to-win players and we will forever be ahead of normal players. From level 1 to level 100, it is just a ding." Xianxia touched onto Yihua's forehead. "Your illness is acting up again." Yihua raised his hand and was about to smack onto Xianxia's forehead, scaring Xianxia to the point that she jumped up and immediately ran away. "See if I don't smack you today." "Humph, you have to catch me first." Xianxia still had the innocence of a child and made a funny face. If Qin Yutong were to see this, she would definitely rub her eyes. "Is big sister infected by me?" "You run slower. Don't slip and fall." Yihua warned gravely. "You are still so crazy even though you are pregnant." You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.